Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlie. I'm the lead designer for Shiver. And first, I just want to say a big thank you to Virtual HorrorCon for inviting us around to kind of run this session for all of you. So that's me. I'd also like to introduce my brother. Barney, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Barney. I am also one of the other designers on Shiver. And today I get to have the glorious experience of letting my brother do all of the work while I get to play a game, which is going to be great fun.
Great. Thank you, Barney. And also, we have our wonderful players with us today as well. Would you all like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'll go first. My name is Nathan, and I am from 2D10, my website, Utility Muffin Labs. I do a podcast. I have a YouTube channel, all gaming-related stuff.
All right, I'm Ben, also known as Big Dad from Carrying Comfort Studios. I've got a game coming up called Heart, the City Beneath. I'm in Rage Across Birmingham. Check us out. And I'm playing Talus, the lab worker, Felisa.
Right. And I'm Rosie. I will be playing Jerry from Security. And you can check me out on Rage Across Birmingham on Carrying Comfort Studios sometime.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So for those who are just tuning in and you don't know what Shiver is a tabletop horror RPG that allows you to play your favorite pulp kind of stories, B movies, horror movies, TV shows, and kind of really get in there with archetypal characters and a nice, easy to use symbolic dice system, which we're going to be using today using our Dice Roller app. But speaking of the story, would you all like a little introduction, a little reminder of the scenario that we're going to be playing today, and then we're going to jump in and introduce all of your characters. How's that all sound?
Yeah, sounds great.
Fantastic. Okay. So our story focuses in on Cornwall Consolidated, a tech giant, world leader in scientific research. It has the resources and the wealth to make dreams come true. Medicine, technology, weapons, robotics, they dominate in pretty much all fields. Getting to be the best, though, is a tricky business, and this company is rife with secrecy, and their base of operations echoes this. It's a wellspring of ideas and also their success. It's known as the Hollow. Located deep underground in a location that I will not disclose now, it's hidden away from the prying eyes. Its location a well-guarded secret where the bulk of the company's research takes place. Scientists, engineers, chemists, many other great minds are buried deep in their work, toiling towards a better future. Mostly. Some secrets are more secret than others, and the company hierarchy fiercely enforces this. Which brings us to you, the players. Some employees are high flyers, some are getting by. You, however, are at the bottom of the barrel. The rock bottoms, aptly named as your base of operations, is in the lowest depths of the Hollow. From dead-end experiments to sanitation, this is where most careers go to die. Some have accepted their fate and continue to work away, punching in, whilst others still try to climb that corporate ladder to the higher levels. The lower levels receive the least amount of funding and care, which has led to our current situation. Something terrible is about to go wrong on the upper floors, an experiment gone awry, something the company does not want to get out. The rock bottomers, however, have no idea that this has happened yet, as the alarm system is out of order, has not been fixed in quite some time. So the upper floors are evacuated, something's been unleashed, and it's time for you, the rock bottomers, to start climbing that corporate ladder in order to survive. So where we're going to take our scene is our camera is going to swoop in and start following one very nervous intern carrying a plate of coffees. Bobby B, the intern, would you like to introduce yourself and give us a quick character description?
Hi, my name's Bobby, and I'm an intern. I've been an intern for 3 years at Cornwall Consolidated. I make coffee and I run errands. And I'm going to go around on my coffee round.
So it is a quiet day on rock bottom in the Hollow, and people are whiling away their hours until lunch, killing time and not really getting much done. The metal corridors are quiet by the hum of bright fluorescent lamps, and the bright light is keeping you all awake. But you do need something else to keep you awake. You do need a good amount of coffee. So Bobby, out of our players that we have here before us, our other characters, who would you be going to first on your coffee run?
I'd be going to see Jerry first, I think, because it's just gonna keep security tight. So I'll Jerry, where's Jerry at in the rock bottom?
Well, Jerry is in his office working hard. He's not the smartest person around, so he doesn't realize his career's dead. So he's giving it his all and is really looking for that caffeine.
Yeah, I'm gonna come knock on your door and be like, Jerry, would you like some coffee?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I'll just come in and sort of shakily put a tray down and give you a coffee. He's like, how's it going, Jerry? Anything interesting happening?
Looks quiet down here. How are you, Bobby?
I'm okay. Same as always. Just staying positive. Anyway, I've got to go because some people are gonna need their caffeine, and if I don't get it to them, they're gonna be mad. I'll pick my tray back up and totter back out of Jerry's office.
Fantastic. As Bobby B shakily, Mrs. Overall style, takes his coffees and makes his way away from you, Jerry, your radio begins to crackle, and you answer it and begin to kind of give it a listen, and you hear some strange noises before the radio line goes dead.
Do they sound like anything in particular?
Ooh, so to try and investigate what the sounds actually are, I'm going to get you to make a smarts check to see if you can kind of recognize them. I'm sorry, it's not Jerry's strong suit.
Not his strong suit, and he has 0 successes and 0 strange, and I might also have a penalty to smarts checks. So I don't think this went well.
I'm just imagining you hear something. To the layman, it may sound like someone possibly in trouble, but then it just goes to static. You give it a bit of a slap, and it just goes to flat static. You're like, there we go, and settle back down into your office and your work day. And Bobby B, you continue on your journey with your jangling tray of coffee cups. Who do we arrive at next?
I'm gonna go see Talisa next. Where's Talisa in the rock bottom?
Talisa would be at a computer, either in the lab or at her cubicle. Just blank face, stick going through like test results.
I'll sort of like come up behind Talisa, like, hey Talisa, how's the science going?
Spins around, just goes over you suspiciously. Why do you want to know?
I'm just trying to make conversation. Coffee?
Yeah, sure. I'll take a coffee.
Take 2.
No, just take the one.
Okay.
And then she reaches for like the furthest one from her.
Nice talking to you, friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'll totter away.
Lisa's not good with people.
Neither's Bobby.
So as you twizzle back round on your spinning chest, Lisa, as Bobby exits, blowing over your kind of hot cup of joe, you hear from the back of the lab a scritching and a scratching. And you notice that the test cages filled with various rodents are a bit more agitated than usual.
I'll go check, make sure that it's not just the they've just sourced me terrible test subjects again.
You wander over to the cages and you begin kind of taking a look, and you notice that these rats, you've got them to know them pretty well. Like they're okay. They'd generally be acting. They would be relatively calm, kind of sitting in the water, having a little kind of play or kind of eating some food. But these rats seem terrified. There's nothing in the room. There's nothing else that you can see as you look around, but they are behaving strangely. If you'd like to pass any more information from that, I'm also going to get you to do an investigation check, which will be a smarts roll, if you would like to try and figure something else out.
1 success, and then I had 1 strange. 3. Oh, it says 3 successes, 1 strange.
3 successes, 1 strange. Oh, that's a very strong success. So just to explain, with the dice rolling with successes and strange, if you fail a roll and you roll a strange symbol, it will tick up what's known as the doom clock. So that is a 60-minute clock ticking up towards midnight, once we get to quarter past, something bad will happen. At half past, something worse happens. Oh yes, oh thank you, wonderful visual prop. And at quarter two, it's going to get pretty dicey, and at midnight, mildly apocalyptic. So bear in mind that these can be events that you might be triggering throughout the game. So if you tick onto one of those kind of quarter chunks, something bad might be coming your way. So as you lean in closer to the cages and kind of look at these rats, you begin thinking about some of the research that you've been doing. And animals tend to be very good at behaving and realize when there is some kind of disaster or natural occurrence that's on its way or is possibly happening right now, but just not on your level. However, you don't see any evidence of that right now.
Strange. And I go back to prepping for this afternoon experiment. How many bites does it take for the intern to know something's up? I don't know why they keep assigning me this, but I'm going to keep doing it.
And we now cut back to our intern and also resident rock bottom experiment, Bobby B, as he jangles his way, 1 or 2 kind of final cups of coffee left as he goes to find Rufus, the janitor. Rufus, whereabouts would you be on the rock bottom?
I would be in my my closet, mixing up the proper chemicals to clean this pit of despair I have to go and work at for 8 hours a day. So I'll just be in the closet, very slowly milking the clock. I don't want to be here. I get paid for 8 hours a day, so I'm just hanging out.
Excellent. So from the outside of your closet, you hear a very timid knock.
It's probably the intern. I'll open the door.
Morning, Rufus. Would you like some coffee? I've not spilled any today.
I don't know. You're not a very good coffee maker, but it is what it is.
I do my best. I've had 3 years of practice. You'd think I'd get better.
It's your ratios are all off. Anyways, sure. Appreciate it. Thanks.
No worries.
You know, you're still an intern after 3 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, you should really stand up for yourself. You know, place like this, you should demand better. They got the money. I don't know who they're fooling.
Well, I'm just happy to be here. And I'm sure I'll get promoted someday. They say that any day now they're going to pick the intern that they're going to give a permanent position.
Well, if all else fails, there's always the mop, and he'll shake his mop and bucket.
Well, yeah, I guess I could turn my hand to that as well.
It's not the most glorious job, but, you know, gives you benefits. I got good teeth.
I'm not sure how that makes sense, but okay.
And as you say that, you're all suddenly temporarily plunged into darkness as the lights entirely turn off and then slowly flicker back into life.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Always something breaking around here. You'd think they'd spend some money.
Excellent. And so, Bobby, you walk out, 1 cup of coffee finally left on your tray. And what I would like you to do, Bobby, is roll a wit check for me to avoid what's coming your way.
That is 1 success.
1 success. So you back out of Rufus's closet come office as you're sharply shoulder barged by a man in a kind of trim cut suit with slicked back hair, and you do the kind of whole whoa, like trying to balance the cup of coffee, and you manage to keep it just on your tray for yourself. And this man turns around and goes, what are you doing? Oh, God, flipping interns. And then he looks down at your final cup of coffee. He goes, oh, well, at least you're useful for something. Picks up the cup of coffee and starts drinking it and turns on his heel and walks away. You recognize this man as an executive who probably shouldn't be on this floor, known as Maxwell Duquesne, who is known as a rather slimy individual.
Okay, Mr. Duquesne, I'm glad to be of help. Let me know if I can do anything else for you. Bye.
So we've established where you are, all kind of on the rock bottom floor, and from all of your various perches, you hear the recognizable tones of the intercom system going bom, bom, bom. Good afternoon, rock bottom employees. It is your mandatory lunch hour. Your mandatory lunch hour starts now. You have 30 minutes to go and eat your lunch and comply in your mandatory lunch hour. 30 minutes to comply. Thank you. You hear a click, and it goes off, and you see the various employees shuffling their way towards the cafeteria to get some lunch. Are you all making your way there?
I think Rufus is probably not the most social of individuals. You know, he's just a good, 18 months away from retirement, and he's got a soggy old sandwich. So he probably just sit in his office and drink this subpar coffee and eat this sandwich and think about how bad he's got it.
Fantastic, excellent. How about the rest of you, Jerry, Talisa? Are you ones for the cafeteria?
Yes. Talisa hates being in the lab because of how terrible this lab is, and wants to get out of it. So she will definitely go to the cafeteria.
And Jerry will go too because it's mandatory.
Jerry knows the duty, the good old loyal security guard. So, Rufus, you carefully unwrap your very, very sad looking sandwich alone in your office, and Jerry, Talisa, and I feel Bobby B as well. You begin lining up at the cafeteria, which is very much like high school: plastic trays, compartments, indiscriminate slop of an indiscriminate origin. You're unsure. It tastes like protein, if protein has a flavor, but you're never really too sure exactly what goes into the food down here. But it gives you enough energy to get by. So yeah, so you've all got your trays loaded up with this food, and there are various tables to sit down at. One is occupied by Maxwell Duquesne, who now has got a folder open of kind of dominating most of a table to himself. There are a few other employees kind of scattered around in smaller groups, kind of eating lunch in their own kind of groups. I want to get really high school with it. Who do you sit with? Do you all sit alone? Do you sit together? Like who are your buddies within these kind of characters that we know? Oh, you're all wonderful lone wolves. That's
No,
also an option.
Jerry is making like the most of this, and because he spends most of his day in a office by himself, so he goes and sits down with, I guess, a group of individuals that look like they're chatting, and he's just gonna plunk down his tray and say, "I hope it tastes like chicken today."
They look over to you, one with a spoon kind of half in the mouth, and he goes, "It doesn't, Jerry. It never tastes like chicken. It never does."
Bobby will also plonk himself down next to Jerry. He likes Jerry because Jerry's really friendly. I will say, I don't know. I think if you think about it hard enough, maybe it does taste a little bit like chicken.
Well, we'll see. There's always tomorrow.
I'll tuck it into my delicious gruel.
So how about you, Talisa? Are you
Talisa will sit with the mail clerk, like the mailroom clerk, because she doesn't like sitting with other lab workers because of how depressing their experiments at rock bottom are, and just sit there waiting for the mailroom girl to just tell one of her outrageous stories. It's the only entertainment I get here, other than watching Jerry try to, get his donut after it falls on the floor without getting out of his chair.
Yeah, that balancing act, it's very tricky. And I guess you have a good view somehow with windows or something.
It's not an experiment, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lisa, you sit down against opposite the lone mail worker who's currently in there, Annie, and she begins to animatedly start talking to you about the various bits of mail that have come through, who they're linked to, what she's got up on her wall with the red string of who's connected to who. There's something going on. Something doesn't really quite line up. She's not too sure, but she's going to get down to it. She knows she's going to find what's going to be happening. She knows it deep down in her core. And this goes on, and I imagine you kind of just eating quietly, just listening to this tirade of internal government and in this case, corporate conspiracy that she has from opening other people's mail. And speaking of mail, suddenly the lights go out again. But when they flicker back on this time, they come on in a deep red. And these are the emergency lights. And you hear some cries and screams from down the hall. And other people are kind of getting up and getting more agitated. The lunchroom is relatively empty. There's only kind of a few people at your table, Jerry and Annie and Maxwell Duquesne. You hear a lot of kind of footsteps from the corridor. Suddenly, the double doors to the cafeteria burst open, and someone who is covered in some dark liquid, which is very hard to tell whether it's blood or possibly just syrup in this kind of lighting, because there's something in the mailroom. It's off. Run for your lives! Ooh! Does the Muppet arms and runs off, and a lot of other people get up and start to evacuate, including Maxwell Duquesne, who sighs, gathers his folder, straightens his tie, and then kind of saunters out of the door, leaving you four in the cafeteria. What would you all like to do?
Well, Jerry's going to go investigate, of course.
Fantastic.
Well, Rufus knows panic brings mess. So Rufus will bring his mop and bucket because I'm not going to be able to leave. Somebody's got to stay here to clean. And I'll make sure that these pigs of people don't leave me a mess to clean later.
Excellent.
I'll be following Jerry because I'm just so eager to help anyone do anything that isn't make coffee. So
Talisa will go with because she figures someone else keeping account of where she is a company function and she can't get in trouble for it.
And also it means you get to closely monitor the intern.
Yes. Also, she's confused because this wasn't supposed to happen for a week. What she was doing wasn't supposed to happen for a week in the mailroom.
Fantastic. So you all gather together, give each other a little curt nod as you have all kind of grouped together, all heading. You start to realize you're all heading in the same direction as you make your way towards the mailroom. So you kind of go out into the corridor, go left, and you begin making your way down, and kind of just a little bit down from the cafeteria are the double doors leading into the mailroom. You kind of, if you peek in the little kind of round windows that are in there, you can't see anybody inside currently.
Okay. Well, Jerry's got his baton out, and I just want to double check. That's his only weapon listed. I'm assuming that's his only, he doesn't have pepper spray or anything like that.
No, if you wanted anything additional, or you feel like you might have something like that back in your office, then it's something that we can discuss and you can pick up as well, if you want. But if you're happy with your trusty baton, that's all okay.
Yeah, trusty baton sounds good to me, and we can always improvise if need be.
Or
all right.
we love a good improvised weapon and death in Shiver. It's a lot of fun.
Especially in a mailroom.
The amount of people that have been killed by shelving in this game, I tell you, it's quite impressive. So, are you heading into the mailroom to investigate a little bit closer?
Of course. I need to find out what happened.
Okay. Jerry leads the way. Baton in hand, you open to reveal the mailroom, which is piled high with letters, packages, and a smell of musty paper and overbrewed coffee, as the mail workers are basically just having to sift through a large central mound of missives that are coming through a huge kind of once shiny metal chute, which is now kind of rusted and dented and dulled with time. There is a loud clanging echo from the mouth of this chute as you hear something heavy as a blur just clatters down into this massive pile of letters and obscures it. And you hear a low gurgling groan coming from inside this pile of letters. Apart from that, you see nobody else in the room.
Okay. And he just saw like a blur fall down. It didn't look like, he's assuming it's a person that got stuck in the chute at this point.
So it looks humanoid. It looked weirdly yellow, is what you noticed.
Okay. maybe someone that ended up getting, I don't know, messed up in one of the experiments, but probably just, someone that needs a little bit of help. So Jerry's gonna sort of go over to the pile and go, hey, you need a hand? And he sort of starts moving the letters with the baton.
Okay, excellent. So what I would like you to do is you begin to prod and poke and sift through this pile of letters. Can you roll a wit check for me to potentially get out of the way of what is about to emerge?
Okay. That is one success, no strange.
Fantastic. So a dusty, shriveled hand suddenly shoots out of the pile of letters, and you manage to pull yourself and your baton and take a few steps back just in time. As rising from the pile of packages, you see, clad in a grimy yellow hazmat suit with a cracked visor, is a man groaning and gurgling, covered in blood, viscera, and what appears to be like a strange kind of dark dust. His eyes are milky and his lips are drawn back into a snarl as kind of blood and spit drips from his face and cracked skull. You think, Jerry, looking at him, he should be dead from that wound, you would think, although you're not a doctor. But he still staggers forward towards you, blood-stained hands outstretched towards your throat, as other shapes begin to shuffle and groan in the pile of letters. So we are entering combat now. So what I'm going to say is in Shiver, when we do combat, when we establish combat order, it's really simple. It's done by the context of the scene itself. So we have a position of first, have middle, and we have last. So Jerry, because you managed to get out of the way and kind of pull back with your allies, I'm going to say that all of you are going to get a go first. Then it is going to be the kind of enemy that's crawled out of the paper, and then it will be what other enemies are potentially hidden in the room going last, having to get up and get out of this pile of letters. So you've got this horrible kind of form in front of you, Jerry, clawing at you. What would you like to do?
Is there a paper cutter in here? Like not like not like a little knife thing, but like a like you slide a bunch of papers in it and you so it's a little bit like a guillotine.
A guillotine, absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. If it already has a cracked skull, he's figuring his baton's not going to do a whole heck of a lot. So he's gonna try to separate the blade from the surface that it's attached to and have that on hand.
Fantastic. Can you roll a grit check for me to pry away this guillotine blade?
0 success is too strange, but I think I have a bonus. Strong, through raw strength, you can wield the heaviest weapon as if they were toothpicks. Oh, this probably doesn't count as heavy. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you tug and heave and groan as you kind of pull at this, and it starts to loosen, but you can't pry it away, unfortunately. So I'm going to say what that has, and that ticks the doom clock up by 2 minutes as you got too strange.
Okay.
So in Shiver, when we're in combat, you've got a move action, you've got an interact action, which is something that is kind of like using an item or a skill or an ability that doesn't do any damage. And then you have an attack, which is just kind of launching attack against an enemy. So I'm going to show that you've used a little bit of your movement because it's not like a massive room, and you've used your interact to try and pry this away. However, you do still have your attack free if you want to bop this fella in the hazmat suit.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. He's still got his baton handy, so let's do that.
Fantastic.
And he's gonna try to go for that already existing head wound. See if he can get his baton in there.
Excellent. So
he used to be really good at his job.
So viewed, that will be a grit check. So every weapon in Shiver has a skill that you'll kind of roll for it in order to hit something.
Okay. 0 successes, 1 strange. Sorry, guys.
Oh dear. Jerry used to be good at his job. Is it, you swipe down with your baton with kind of all your might, but for something that seems kind of quite slow and staggering, it miraculously, in its swaying back and forth, somehow seems to time it just perfectly to get back, but you kind of scrape the tip of its nose and knock like a little chunk off of it, and it seems a bit like that. So when it comes to so that's going to be your turn, Jerry, and we'll cycle round to you momentarily. But so whenever you as a group of characters are within first, middle, or last, you get to kind of determine your own order. So Rufus, Talisa, or Bobby, who would like to go next? If you guys want to work together, that means that if you've got certain skills, you can like line them up in a tactical way, if you'd like.
I imagine I probably would have been right in behind Jerry to help. So I guess I'll go next. Jerry seems to have this fella sort of under control with his baton, so I think I'm going to go and try and loosen up that guillotine blade for him, seeing as he's otherwise occupied. So you say that was a grit check?
Yeah, if you're wanting to just try and brute force it off, then yeah, that would be a grit check.
I'm not sure Bobby's smart enough to figure out anything other than just snapping it off, so we'll try that. 1 success.
Okay, with 1 success, because I'm going to say because Jerry loosened it so much for the first attempt, that's going to snap right off. And you hold above you this guillotine blade like some form of office Excalibur. So that's going to do 4 sharp, let's say. Cool. Yeah, it's a pretty meaty weapon. So that'll roll on grit.
What I want to do is take my sort of weird guillotine blade thing and start sort of poking shish kebab style into the mail pile and see if I can find anything in there that's groaning.
So what I'm going to get you to do, and I'm going to have this count as your attack if that's okay, but because you can't see anything and you're doing it randomly, I'd like you to roll a luck check to see if you hit anything.
I do not.
Okay.
Too smart, cigarette.
Okay, you jab in and you're like, no, letters, no. And then you poke some, the letters fall down and it just reveals a horrible, decaying, dust-spewing face that begins to emerge from the letters as you've disturbed its resting place.
And I'll sort of stumble back a bit. Goes, I think I found another one.
Fantastic. So I'm going to say that's Bobby's turn. Rufus, Talisa, who would like to go next?
Rufus will kind of be a little shocked. There's a decaying, rotting individual, and he'll just go, "What the fuck?" and push his mop bucket in to try to put space between him and whatever happened to this person, just to keep them away.
Fantastic. So I'm going to say that will use your interact, that you've kind of put your mop bucket kind of like in front of you as a shield. So if any of these creatures now want to try and get around to you, they're going to have to use more movement to actually get in range of you. I like that. What else? Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I'll just look at any of the bystanders around here, and I'll just tell them, "Stay out of that room. Stay out of there."
You look around and you realize as you look back into the rock bottom floor, it is a ghost town. Everyone has just gone. Like everyone is like I think they've realized they've been at maybe Cornwall Consolidated a while now. They know the score. They've legged it. They know something really bad has happened. So yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
No, at this point, no.
Cool, excellent. So kind of mop, pushing out bucket, shielding yourself, making sure that none of these fellas can kind of get to you. Talisa, what would you like to do?
Talisa would like to use her anatomy skill to try to study this creature before her. It says roll a smarts check equal to the target enemy CR, and it tells me a success will tell me its weakness.
Okay.
3 successes, 1 strange.
Fantastic. You kind of lean in and examine with an acute scientific eye this creature that is flailing at Jerry currently. You notice a couple of things. One, it should definitely be dead, but knowing kind of your general zombie lore, as well as some of the experiments that you've been doing with ants, smashing the brain and kind of hitting the head generally is a good shout. The other thing you notice, though, that's a bit more spiffing, quite strange, is that when they breathe out, they seem to be breathing out a kind of big dusty gas, almost like a little mini sandstorm. You notice that they seem to be covered in a strange, dark, kind of nearly like black sand that you've never seen before. And the other thing that you notice is that from being all kind of sandy and like this and the desiccated nature of their skin, they're very, very dry. And it looks like it's a walking tinderbox. So you feel fire might be a good shout.
Okay. After that, Talisa will try to position herself behind the broken copier to push it into one of these creatures as they get out, if they get out of the mail bin.
Okay. I'm going to say, roll a grit check for me.
Sure. No successes.
So you kind of get to the copier and it's a old Titanic beast from the 80s, and you kind of grab the sides and kind of go, and it just does not budge. Like an inch, does not even move, unfortunately. Did you get no strange as
Nothing.
well?
It's 0-0.
Fantastic. That's good. Excellent. So that's our players' turns, and it's going to bring us round to the guy that you are currently tussling with, Jerry. And it is going to swipe at you with its kind of dusty claws. And it does not succeed. It kind of flails wildly at you. You manage to kind of bat away its hands kind of with your baton, kind of only roughly. So from the, and that's going to be its turn, as it's not going to try and move away from you. It seems very focused on you, Jerry. As two more shapes rise out of the pile of letters. One of them right in front of you, Bobby B, as you disturbed its resting place. It's going to stumble towards you and swipe down at you with its arms. And that is going to be a hit and deals you 2 wounds as it kind of slams down this dusty hand, giving like a little puff of dust as it kind of whacks you. And the other one is going, and that's going to be that creature's turn, and the other one is going to start shambling towards Rufus. However, it can't fully get to you because of your mop bucket, and it kind of walks into the mop bucket, backs up a little bit, walks into the mop bucket, walks back a little bit, and it's going to go, and that's going to be its turn for now, whilst it tries to, actually rolls a smarts check. And on this turn, does not figure out the mop bucket. So Rufus is currently safe. So that is going to bring us back around to the top of the order with Jerry. Jerry, what would you like to do?
How close is it to Jerry at this point in time?
So it's a few feet. It's kind of like shuffling in, like trying to get you, like being kind of pushed back, kind of constantly working its way towards you.
I'm trying to remember what was in an industrial mailroom. Unfortunately not a wood chipper. I don't think we need a paper shredder quite that big here.
Not on this floor anyway.
Not on this floor. So Jerry's gonna go at it with his baton again.
Okay.
While he tries to think of something, maybe would it be possible for him to attack and for his interact roll, try to like glance around and see if there's another weapon that might be a little heavier, that might do a little bit more.
Your shredder idea interests me. So with your interact, roll a luck check for me to see if the industrial paper shredder 3000 has indeed been installed yet.
Okay. Which would you like me to do first, the attack or the interact?
Do your interact first, because then you might have a new avenue for attack, is what I'm thinking.
That's 1 success and 0 strange.
As you look around, you notice that, yeah, at the back of the room, there appears to be a large kind of maw with rotating kind of spinning blades at the minute, which is laying completely still and has not been turned on. And you see Paper Shredder 3000, brand, glistening and new, like someone's not taken off like the fresh cellophane peel that you have when you get a new bit of electronics. So it's there, it's ready, it's waiting. It's not even shredded paper, but it might shred something else first if you would like to try.
Yeah. So he's gonna How close is it to us? I'm trying to determine if I should throw the attacker towards the machine first or turn it on.
So, I'm gonna be kind of the fact that it's like I'll get you to roll a grit check,
Mm-hmm.
so you can throw it kind of into the machine.
Cool.
And we'll see how lucky it is and see if the machine turns on. Throwing it against it will at least do some damage anyway. But then if you can actually get it inside the machine, it's probably going to be history.
That would be fun. Let's see how it goes. One success, one strange.
Okay, I'm going to roll an opposed check. It whiffs it. It's a weak, dusty boy. As you kind of grab it by the front of its grimy hazmat suit, you launch it into the machine. Could you roll an additional luck check for me as well?
Yes, sir. One success, zero strange.
Fantastic. So it slams into the machine, and with its flailing arms, it slaps the on button. And as it begins to move forwards, the back baggy oxygen pipe of its hazmat suit catches in the now rotating blades as it is slowly pulled back into the paper shredder and turned into a bloody pulp. And your attacker is defeated. As you see in the expel tube where usually all the paper shreddings would come out, it is just like sausage meat. So yeah. So well done, Jerry. You have defeated one of these horrible creatures. So who would like to go next?
I'm very shocked by this graphic display of mess. But obviously these are not people that are playing around. So I got to protect young Charlie, and Jerry seems to got everything under control. So I guess it's on now. I'll pull the mop out of the bucket, and I'll give a good baseball swing, like my high school baseball days, and whack one of these guys across the head.
Okay, roll a grit attack for me, please.
Okay, and then with this, because it's a mop and I am the mop master, do I add dice to that? How does that work?
You do. So you'll add one of these. So you'll add a talent die to your roll. So if you just type in 1 on grit for now and roll it, then it'll add it in. And what you're looking for is the 5-pointed star is a talent symbol, and that's a success for any symbol that's not a strange. So that's what you're looking for in that dice.
Okay. Yeah, I got 2 successes and 1 strange.
Fantastic. That is enough to hit as you kind of pull out your sodden mop out of the bucket and give this creature a hearty slap across the face as its head turns, cricks, and it tries to turn its head back in the normal direction and seems to not be able to. It's a bit stuck. And how much damage do you do? Just on your sheet, does it say?
It just says if the weapon is a mop, it gains 2 damage.
Well, the bottom left of your page.
So you should have the weapons.
Yes, 3 blunts, so 5 total.
Okay, so you give it a good old hearty smack. Excellent. So is there anything else you'd like to do? Would you like to move somewhere else in the room, interact with anything else?
I'll try to move in between Charlie and his attacker, just because, Charlie's a young kid and, he's already been hurt. I'm not going to stand for that.
Did you mean Bobby?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Is this right?
Yes. He's Charlie to me. I don't know. He reminds me of a Charlie from back in the day.
Thanks, Mr. Rufus.
It's quite right. I'm just imagining I'm standing in the corner of this mirror and being like, "How did I get here?" You kind of slamming, doing like the full kind of swing around. You put the mop back in the bucket, begin to like crab walk shuffle over towards and begin to position yourself in between this other assailant and Bobby, and that's going to be your turn. So, Talisa, Bobby, who would like to go next, and what would you like to do?
Yeah, go for it, Talisa.
Is there anything like a filing cabinet I can pull one of the drawers out? I want to chuck it at the one Rufus just whacked.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to say you can pull out a filing cabinet drawer kind of unheeded. You find you pull one out, it's like too heavy. That one's got some heft to it, but I can get it all the way out.
Awesome.
If you want to throw it, that's going to be a wit attack, as that's kind of how you use thrown weapons. And I'll make up a damage rate for that one.
1 success.
Fantastic. You heave out this filing cabinet drawer, lift it above your head, and hurl it towards this creature. And as it clangs kind of into the top of its head, and you see that its neck nearly fully separates as its head flops down and collides with its back, and it just crumples down in a dusty pile, and is now no longer moving. So you've rendered that one
confirmed.
Fantastic. So that would be your attack. If you'd like to move anywhere, you can. I'll say that interacts collecting. That will be your interact kind of collecting that draw weapon. So is there anywhere you'd like to move in the room?
No, I just like to tell Rufus, hey, there's a mess on the floor there. Can you take care of that? This room's kind of a mess, Rufus.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, Rufus will just give you that look like, I don't get paid enough for this.
Excellent. And that brings us to our resident intern and experiment, Bobby B. What would you like to do with your turn?
So I'll, now that Rufus has gotten between me and this dusty thing that's crawled out of the mail, I will proffer the guillotine blade that I've managed to pry away to Jerry to see if he would like it. Which is, I got this for you, Jerry. Would you like it?
Oh, thanks, kid.
No worries. So I'll give that to Jerry, and then from my like belt of various stationery like pens and stuff, I'm going to pull out my stapler, and sort of with Rufus in front of me, I'm kind of going to like try and reach around him and bash the thing with my stapler.
It's like the unhinged stapler slap.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I see it. I see it. Okay, so roll a grid attack for me, please.
No successes and a strange.
Okay.
All out of staples.
You slap down on this kind of hazmat suited zombie, and you actually like staple a gap back together. So it's like you're kind of repairing the suit for him.
Safety first.
Yeah, and that's going to put us on 4 minutes on the doom clock, and that's going to be Bobby B's turn. However, that brings us to our zombie who has just been kind of repaired, but Jerry is in the way, so it is going to have a swipe at you, and it is going to hit, I'm afraid, as it kind of bashes down with its kind of dusty mitts on your chest. So that will be 2 wounds on your wound track. And that is going to be its turn. And that will bring us around to the top of the order with you, Jerry, who now you have been bequeathed this guillotine sword. So that will roll off grit and it will do 4 sharp damage. So it's like a huge, like, 2-hander blade almost that you've got.
I have been bequeathed the office Excalibur by the intern. Love it. Okay. So, yeah, Jerry's gonna try to use that thing like a machete and go for the neck. He hasn't had this much fun in years. 0 successes, 0 strange.
Okay, so you kind of swirl the guillotine blade over your head and kind of swing it towards this creature, but you clang off a metallic, now empty oxygen tank, and you kind of stagger backwards, and the zombie gets even more kind of intense of its intention upon you. However, the rest of your group members may be able to rescue you from its grasp. Who would like to go next?
I have a question. I have a real problem with mess, and as Talisa has pointed out, this room is a mess. Does this count, the messiness in this room? Does this count against me being a clean freak?
I'm gonna say it's got to that level now. It's got to that point through the number of bodies that are on the floor and the mess that you have created, the extra letters thrown everywhere. What I would like to is that your fear or your flaw? It's your flaw, isn't it? Yeah. So I was going to say, you're going to be operating at your kind of disadvantage now.
Okay.
I don't even want to think about how you feel about what Jerry did with the paper shredder and the meat chunks.
Well, you know, Rufus has seen a lot of things in his time, but nothing quite like that. Anyways, Rufus will take a step back out of the room because this is just too much for me to handle. And Jerry has gone off the res, so I'm just gonna let Jerry swing a blade around and hope I don't get hit.
Okay, cool. As you step out into the corridor to take a breath of fresh air, you hear a banging kind of to your right and some kind of grunts and swears. And as you look to your right, you see still in his sharp dress suit, but looking a little bit more disheveled now, his slick back hair kind of coming a bit loose. Maxwell Duquesne increasingly pushing the elevator button harder and harder and harder until he ends up kicking it. And he eventually notices you looking at him, going, damn, goddamn elevator, why would you work? And then notices you staring, looks at you, smooths back his hair, stands up straight, and then gently presses the button once more and continues to wait for the elevator. And he is the only person you see left on this floor. Is there anything else you would like to do? Or you?
I would like to. Are there stairs on this floor? I assume there would have to be like a stairwell to like get up, get out.
Yeah, there's some stairs near the elevator, so they're just beyond, like kind of right at the other end of the corridor to where you are at the moment.
Then yeah, I'll just say to him, let's take the stairs. Elevators are probably off, and I'll point in the direction of the stairs.
He'll kind of look at the stairs, look back at you, kind of think in his head and be like, well, I suppose so. Do you have any other compatriots with weapons that aren't cleaning utensils? And he'll kind of gesture to your bloodied mop and bucket.
I'll point back in the room.
Right. Well, how about this as a business proposal? We wait for your compatriots to finish with their business that they have in them, and then we all group together, and then we'll sally forth up the stairs to safety and escape, and from this wretched floor.
Yeah. That's fine, sir.
Wunderbar. And with that, we'll cut back inside to the mail room and the chaos that lies within. So I think that leaves us with Talisa and Bobby. You've got turns left.
I'm probably just gonna take a panicked swing at this thing in front of me as Rufus has kind of just bailed from in front of me. So that's just a hulking thing flailing its arms near me. So I'm going to just swing at it with my stapler again. This time, aim for something that isn't going to get repaired. So I'm going to go for the head this time.
Fantastic.
Rufus hates mess more than he likes you. So
2 successes.
Fantastic. You with a intern war cry flail your stapler around, and as the zombie kind of gets some gristle in its teeth and closes its lips together, you staple its mouth shut, and it starts going like that as it kind of reels away from you in some level of pain. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to do, Bobby?
I'm probably gonna sidle towards the exit of the room as well. Now that Rufus has left, I'm gonna be like, I think I'm done here. Jerry, you've got this, right?
Yeah, kid, sure, go on.
Okay, Bobby bravely runs away. As we move on to Talisa, what would you like to do?
Talisa is going to start fulfilling her personal dreams and take out her lighter because she's a smoker and set fire to the mail in the mailroom. Knowing these things are weak to fire. Also, in case any more come down, she wants them to fall into fire. Also, she hates this place and wants it to burn.
Fantastic. So I'm going to say that's a little bit of a stretch. You're using an elemental weapon. And you're using the anatomy roll that you used before. Roll an attack using a smarts check for me.
2 successes, 1 strange.
Fantastic. So you kind of side your way around, reach out with the lighter, and manage to catch a kind of dry, flapping piece of skin, which, as the creature's eyes widen in horror, it goes up in flames and begins flailing. And I imagine, Jerry, with the kind of tip of your guillotine sword, you shunt it back into the pile of letters as the mailroom begins to burn. And you realize, Talisa, this was a very, very good move as you hear a large amount of rattling, echoing gurgles and groans as more creatures begin to make their way down the chute. And it's going to be a lot more than 3, you realize from listening to it. What would you all like to do? This zombie is now just flailing in the burning mass of kind of paper and eventually falls still.
I'm going to follow the janitor, walking out into the hallway, like flipping the lighter to myself, like in view of the executive, and Rufus just science experiment. I have permission.
And once everyone else has left the room, Jerry is going to also leave and like close and lock the door behind him. Try to keep any burning zombies from stumbling out. And so, all right.
I imagine Jerry not being the smartest, getting the large ring of keys. Can't remember what it's like. No. That's it.
Takes a minute or two, but he does it.
Okay, so you head over in front of the elevator and join Maxwell and Rufus, our resident janitor. So Maxwell explains the plan. So yes, we're all grouped together now, and you all have weapons and certain combat abilities, which myself. That you do, Bobby. That you do indeed, and I'm sure
he
you
knows
will...
your name.
I must have been down here to give you that promotion you were looking for.
You see Maxwell's eyes light up and he has a sly grin on his face. He says, yes, of course, but that's exactly why I was down here. However, the structure of the company after this large-scale incident is quite possible to change. However, if you wield that stapler good and fine and mighty proper to protect one of your superiors, I won't forget you, Bobby, as we rise back up out of this wretched floor. So what do you say, Bobby?
That sounds mighty good, Mr. Duquesne. I'll be sure to staple things good.
Excellent. That's my boy. So shall we head up the stairs? Yeah. Would you like to lead the way, Bobby?
Of course. Follow me. And I'll open the door to the stairwell and head up excitedly.
Excellent. He'll kind of clap you on the back and be like, yes, very, very good. Just right in front there, Bobby, right there in the line of fire. I mean, leading the way as you begin making your way up the stairs. You wind your way up this kind of large, heavy industrial concrete stairwells until you find your way is blocked. Some of the large rumbling that you heard earlier is a big chunk of the stairwell has collapsed in. Your way forward is blocked off. However, there is a door that will allow you to cut into another floor. And you all know that this floor above you is technological research and development. And you see there is a door leading off the stairwell that will take you into this room for a potential other route of escape. What would you like to do?
Jerry is going to turn to Talisa and say, hey, those things didn't like fire so much. You think we can find something on this floor that would make us a flamethrower?
Listen, I told you that NDA says I'm not allowed to tell you what's on this floor. Neither am I supposed to set foot on this floor due to the mysterious fire that broke out.
Well, I don't think you really have a choice about going on this floor or not, unless you can move all that rubble.
Hey, Bobby, can you move this rubble real fast?
Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And I'll head up the stairs past the door and I'll start sort of picking up rocks, and then I'll be holding a rock, looking around, and then reach over the sort of handrail for the stairs and drop it down, wait for it to hit the ground. That's going far, and just continue moving rocks.
Just like my pocket clipboard, like subjects will broken.
Bobby, you lift up one of the heavier rocks right over the edge, and as you turn back, a roughly severed hand from the cave-in just rolls down and lands and rests on your boot, just grasping the end of it.
I think this isn't the best idea.
Yeah, maybe we don't move the rocks. Sorry, Talissa. Gotta go in. I think Mr. Duquesne can forgive you.
Mr. goes, oh, yes, Bobby. I admire your gumption and your attempted strength, but yes, and he with his shoe like kicks the grasping dead hand off your shoe like into the void below. But I think that maybe this may be our best way forward. We wouldn't want rocks to fall down and collapse on us and kill us. Oh, that would be a terrible way to die. Yeah,
as opposed to getting chewed to death by whatever creeps fell into the mailroom.
Yeah,
Sure
speaking
would
of,
hate to get crushed.
and Jerry's gonna start opening the door to the floor, and as he's doing that, he's gonna say, "So, Mr. Duquesne, do you know what happened?"
well, I would say that in any corporate business, there is a problem with disgruntled employees, and that could potentially be one of the problems that we're having here. But there is also the prospect of industrial espionage, and we do have many competitors who may wish to see us fall so far from the top of the Mount Olympus of business, as it were. If you're the king doesn't stay the king without some friendly competition. I'd like you all to roll a hearts check for me, please.
Is this trying to determine whether he's telling the truth or not? I have a penalty. If so.
Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, take your penalty.
1 success, 0 strange.
Fantastic.
I didn't get any successes.
Zero successes and a strange.
Okay, so it takes us to 5 minutes on the doom clock.
I have 0 successes and a strange.
Okay, that takes us to 6. So Talisa, sorry, did you not get a success?
Nothing and nothing.
Nothing and nothing. Fantastic. Okay, so Talisa, Rufus, and Bobby, you'll go. Oh yeah, no, that seems appropriate. That seems okay. But Jerry, you've worked for the company for a long time. You're loyal. You love to follow the rules. But there's something about what Duquesne is saying that doesn't measure up. And you can tell as a security guard when somebody's nervous and not telling the truth. You can kind of see that all over Maxwell Duquesne right now. He is hiding something from all of you.
Well, Mr. Duquesne, it's really important that we know what we're dealing with. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get you out of here. Is there anything that you know that might help?
Oh, are you proposing that if I'm not more forthcoming, that you will not provide me with your contracted services, Jerry?
Oh, no, I'll try. Definitely, sir. But, well, if you know anything about how this started or what these things might be, that could be helpful in fulfilling my contract.
He kind of looks at you and slowly nods and says, well, some aspects of what this potentially could be are also most likely classified. However, let's put it this way. On the upper floors, there potentially may have been an experiment that was being conducted that had a viral element to it that may have spread to some unfortunate, and I must say, careless employees, therefore removing any form of liability or consequence from Cornwall Consolidated, as stated in section paragraph 3AB here. However, that's probably all I am allowed to disclose at this current time. Does that answer your question, Jerry?
Enough. You know how it's spread, and at this point, he probably is it a push bar or handle on the door?
It's like the kind of depressed like push bar that you kind of have for like a fire exit to get inside.
Okay, he's gonna finish pushing that door open while we're talking.
So yeah, so the door kind of opens and swings open wide into another kind of bathed in red light room ahead of you, and Mr. Duquesne hands nervously rings and says, well, I couldn't possibly say
Lovely, sir. All right, Talissa, that flamethrower.
Excellent. So you heading into the technical R&D area?
I mean, I think it would, as a player, I think it would make sense to try to, if we can, jerry rig a flamethrower or something like that. But what do my other buddies think?
It's plausible.
Bobby's right behind you. This is heading into the thing. He's much better at walking than he is at moving rocks. So he's down.
Rufus is just walking towards the back with the mop slung over his shoulder, just looking very much like he's very tired of this and can't wait to get home.
I love his optimism. We're getting out of here.
Melissa just kind of stands in front of the sign that says "Do not leave unsupervised" and a picture of her.
And Maxwell Duquesne at the back is like, great, excellent, right, Sally 4, yes. As you all begin moving through the door into technical R&D, and you see the tech department ahead of you is in ruins. There's smashed glass everywhere, blood streaks of gore splattered up against kind of glass. Everything again lit in that dull red glow, meaning that the emergency lighting has come on and that this floor has lost a certain amount of power and will be running on the backup. You hear some groans and gurgles in the distance of this cavernous room. One area stands out to you all, right on the far side of the room, and it is bathed in a yellow blinking light, and you recognize it as an elevator shaft on the other side of the department. A way out, perhaps? And for the more perceptive of you, there is a tiny crack that you can see in the door. However, it is not fully open. If you'd like to look around a little bit more and determine kind of some more details, I'll have you all roll a wit check for me to do a kind of general perception of the area.
1 success for me.
One
Okay,
success.
0.
Success. 0.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, so for those with 1 success, this is what you notice. The layout of the technical R&D department is as follows. So you've kind of come through this fire exit door and you have a long corridor ahead of you that meets at a crossroads. On the opposite side of kind of this crossroads is the elevator door, kind of a good way away. At the center of the crossroads, you notice 2 of these shambling creatures again that appear to be aimlessly kind of swaying back and forth, groaning, clicking, and kind of as they kind of heave out more kind of dust and black sand, like kind of coming out of their nostrils as they kind of idle around looking for something with their kind of milky white eyes. So they're at the center of this crossroads. And then on your left-hand side, you've got a glass kind of large office block with a little sign on it that says Advanced Ballistics. On the right-hand side, you have one that says Advanced Defense. And then you can see that there are 2 more of these glass-walled offices, like this frosted glass, on the other side of the crossroads as well. But from here, and with that roll kind of in this dark red lighting, you can't see the signs as to what sub-department of R&D these are and what may lay inside. You see that to Advanced Defense and Advanced Ballistics, there are kind of a sliding glass door that you could move to one side. And most importantly, these creatures at the center of the crossroads have not yet noticed you.
Hey, Mr. Duquesne, there's a room over there that says Advanced Defense. Maybe we could get you something good to protect you in there. That might be a good idea.
Yes, I mean, I'll never say to a little bit of defense, better safe than sorry, my dear boy. Yes, that sounds like a marvelous plan.
Okay, that sounds great. And I'll start heading towards the Advanced Defense door.
Cool. What would everyone else like to do? I will say, like, if you want to split up in this area and go different routes and wind your way towards the elevator, that's absolutely fine.
Well, for Rufus, he's probably much more endeared to the security guard whose job it is to keep people protected. So he'll kind of just be, to the side shadowing the security guard. feeling very upset and annoyed by the fact that Mr. Duquesne seems to be taking advantage of an unpaid intern to go do his bidding. So he'll just look disgruntled, but keep Jerry's back, basically.
And Jerry is going to start trying to kind of sneak his way towards the elevator. Like if there's a way to get to it around the zombies. Like is there an outer or do you have to go through?
So what you've got is this kind of crossroad corridor. And they're at the center of this crossroad. So if you went up the corridor, you'd meet them. So you'd have to get very close to them in order to do that. And it'd be quite likely that they would spot you. However, you're kind of thinking about how this room splits up. You think if going through one of these other offices, you're seeing one of the doors, but there's probably another door that adjoins onto a further corridor that allows you to that would allow you to pop out around the zombies, so you're not having to go directly through them. If you want to go barge directly through them, that is also an option though. If you just want to barrel through, that's always an option.
I mean, that's what my heart is telling me to do, but I know it's probably an awful idea. At least not without some kind of something more weapon-esque. Then again, I'm looking at my flaws and I'm stupid. So let's follow Jerry's heart here and let's go get those zombies and hope that this doesn't go too badly, but at least maybe the others will get out.
Okay, Talisa, what are you doing? As it seems that Rufus' loyalty is lying with Jerry, with what is about to occur. How about you? Where are you lying?
I'm not certain. Talisa could use a weapon. That advanced ballistic sounds pretty good. She has a vested interest in her experiment on the intern, but she doesn't want to have to do most of the work there. On the other hand, she sees Jerry charging the zombies. This is a tough one. I think she's going to stick with Jerry.
Okay, cool. And I think at that point, we'll all take a little kind of 5-10 minute comfort break, if that's right with everyone, and then we'll jump back in and see what happens in the research area for you all. Awesome. Right. So yeah, we're back in 5 or 10 minutes, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Yep, we are in research and development in the Cornwall Consolidated Facility, the Hollow, and we had where we just left off. Our group was splitting up with Bobby B and Maxwell Duquesne heading into advanced defense, and Jerry, Rufus, and Talisa getting ready to bum rush a couple of zombies. So what I'm going to do is we're going to basically I'll resolve both scenes as if they're kind of happening in tandem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resolve the Bobby B Maxwell Duquesne scene first and just kind of get that done, and then we'll do a bit of a rewind, and we'll come back to the other group and discover what has happened. So Bobby B, you slide open the door to advanced defense and look inside. It is a lab that's got all sorts of heavy duty materials scattered around the room, as well as what appears to be a firing range. At the end of the firing range, you see there is a hole-ridden dummy that is clad in some kind of lightweight armored vest. And at the kind of firing side of the firing range appears to be some kind of gas-propelled bolt thrower that they have been using to test this armor. What would you like to do?
Both of those things sound great. So my first priority would be to go probably and investigate this thing that they've been testing weapons on to see if it'd be a good fit for Mr. Duquesne. I'll check it's his size. So I'm gonna wander up to the test dummy and see if I can extract it.
Okay, yeah, no, you wander up to the test dummy and you kind of manage, after a little bit of finagling, pull this body armor off. So this is just basic armor that provides one armor slot, which you can wear yourself, or you can give it to Mr. Duquesne and be a real loyal employee.
So I'll go over to Mr. Duquesne. Mr. Duquesne, I think this might be a good fit for you. Keep you nice and safe.
Oh, yes. Well, wonderful, Bobby. Brilliant. He takes off his suit jacket and slips on this armored vest and puts his jacket back on. Fits like a glove. Wonderful, Bobby. Is there anything else that you'd like to...
Yeah, this gas-propelled thing. Can I... Everyone's been talking about making some kind of flamethrower-y thing, so I'm just wondering whether it looks like that might be something that would be helpful to Talisa, because like Talisa doesn't seem to like me very much, but I'd really like to be her friend. So if it looks like she'd like it, I'll take that to maybe be part of their flamethrower plan.
Okay, roll a smarts check for me.
1 success.
Cool. With that, so you examine this kind of gas-propelled bolt thrower thing that they've got going on. You see that it's mostly just using kind of like a compressed gas canister at the minute that you would assume is not flammable. And that is what is propelling the darts kind of out through this nozzle. However, if you were to find a canister, say, of flammable gas, and you swap those canisters out and put a flame in front, then we might be talking a flamethrower.
Ooh.
So it's a one step away from a flamethrower, is what I'm saying.
I mean, that sounds great. So I'll pick that up. Is there a door out of here other than the door that we came in?
Yeah, so you've kind of come in off the corridor, and then there's a kind of door off to your left that will bring you into kind of like the right hand juts of that crossroads.
Okay. So
yeah.
Can I peek my head out that door just to kind of get an idea of where I am and see where I am in relation to the creatures that are in the middle of the crossroads?
You can. You poke your head out. You look right. You see there's this kind of more corridor. You look ahead of you. There's another glass office in front of you that says PSYOP division. And then you look to your left. And as you look to your left, we're going to cut back to our other group as Jerry charges, I guess guillotine cutlass is what I'm going to call it, in hand, and charges into the zombie. Are you just charging straight at them, Jerry? Is that the plan? Just kind of trying to get the drop on them and just get swinging?
Yep.
Fantastic. Cool. So what I'm going to say is that in combat, you're going to catch them off guard. So Talisa and Rufus, are you doing the same thing, this kind of infantry charge on these two unsuspecting undead?
Well, I had some trouble in my past, so I'm just going to make sure the security guard hits first. So that way I'm just backing up the security guard. I don't know what's going on with these people. So, I'm not ready to start murdering people with blades yet, but, Well, I'll let the security guard go first.
And I
How
want to
about
see if
you?
I can grab like a fire extinguisher off the wall to use as a weapon.
Fantastic. Yes, there's actually, I'll do you one better. You kind of look down, you see the fire extinguisher, and you're like, oh, great. But then you look up, and above it, behind security glass, is a fire axe.
Oh, they gave us these back. Didn't think that would happen.
Cool. So, are you wanting the fire axe?
Oh, absolutely.
So, with an elbow, you kind of put it through and pull out this fire axe. So, what I'm gonna do is I will just grab the things for you, and I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you.
Because it has a special ability, which in this particular genre of horror is very useful. Oh, sorry, that should be 4. That should be 4 sharp. So we'll bump that up to 4 sharp. But yeah, so you have the special open sesame. It's the kind of here's Johnny effect of you can use this to get through doors. So you'll gain a talent die when you're trying to kind of wrench open doors or bash your way through. Cool. So you as a group, as a trio, are going to go first, and then it's going to be the zombies going in the middle, and then any other possible enemies that might or may not be in this area will get activated kind of on the last slot. So, Jerry, as you're charging forth with your guillotine cutlass, would you like to roll an attack for me first?
Yes. That is 2 successes and 3 strange.
Fantastic. Luckily, though, it's enough to hit as you bury your cutlass in deep.
Actually, I had another thought, and can I? You said it was a crossroads hallway thing. Can I sort of get the zombie up against one of the walls with the blade at its throat?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna say I'll let if you expend your interact to do that, you'll do the full damage and you'll get to move that zombie kind of where you want them and clear him kind of out of the way. You kind of pin it up against the corner of one of these glass offices and begin pushing the blade kind of further and further in as it kind of like trying to keep it away from itself.
Yeah, Jerry clearly has no issue with killing these things.
Yeah. As Jerry said, time of his life.
Yeah.
So, now that Jerry has landed the first gory blow, Talisa or Rufus, what would you like to do? Who'd like to go next?
Does Talisa recognize either of these zombies?
One of them you recognize as a rival. So somebody who was in the lab with you before, they may have like copied and cribbed off some of your work, and they got shuffled up to another floor, and you know they didn't speak to you again. And I don't know how do you feel about that, Talisa?
Well, this axe is going to that face.
Yeah.
I say that, but I'm probably gonna roll 0.
Yeah. So it turns around and kind of goes. Like,
I hate you, Susan.
You're unsure of whether there's a glint of recognition as you swing the fire axe down.
So that's 1 success and 2 strange.
Fantastic. One is enough to hit though as you bring the fire axe down, and I'm going to say you straight on cleave off one of the arms, and it just kind of stumbles and goes. and then kind of starts to flail with one arm kind of towards you.
I know you took my coffee mug.
And that leaves us with Rufus.
Well, these two are just really relishing the joy of whacking these people. I, on the other hand, I just want to get out of here. So I'm going to use my mop and try to trip one of them and send them to the ground. And then maybe to get past them, I'll give them a swift boot in the face on my way.
Okay. Are you wanting to trip the one that Talisa is engaged with, or the one that Jerry is engaged with?
Let's do the one that Talisa's engaged with, because Talisa will have to bring that axe back again, and so I'm less likely to get hit.
Fantastic. Cool. So roll a grit attack for me to sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. That is 1 success and 3 strange.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to say that you still hit and manage to do some damage, but I'm going to say that with that amount of strange and no additional grit, you're not going to be able to get them down on the ground. So you still slap them for the damage. What's your damage again for the mop? It's 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's +2 with a base of 3, so yeah, 5.
Fantastic. So with a kind of sickening crack, you slam into the zombie's leg, but it somehow manages to, it starts to kind of semi-hop and stay up, and it looks like some kind of strange dusty puppet as it continues to flail at you both with one arm. Cool. Is there anything else that you would like to do? You probably still have a bit of your movement left or your interact.
Try to get past them, maybe so I'm behind it.
Okay, yeah. You kind of sidle in between the two zombie like wrestling matches that are going on. Just like, excuse me, like kind of with your mop, and you get to the other side of the crossroads. So you're in the corridor that leads straight to the elevator now.
Okay.
Excellent. So that will be. So we've had Jerry, we've had Rufus, we've had Talisa. So now that's going to bring us to our zombinos, and they're going to try and fight back. So firstly, the one that is pinned up against the wall with you, Jerry, is going to try and grab around the edge of the blade and try and kind of headbutt you back. And is successful. Its kind of hard skull cracks into yours and deals you a couple of wounds. And as it kind of pulls back, you see just the bare exposed bit of its skull in the center of its forehead as it kind of groans and rocks back and forth. And the one-armed zombie is going to take a swipe at you, Talisa. And it whiffs it as it is missing an arm, and is really struggling. It's trying to swipe, stay balanced, but is really, really, really struggling. So, and that's going to take us to the last position, where I'm going to give Bobby B and Maxwell Duquesne. Is there anything you would like to do? Would you like to enter the fray? Would you like to stay quiet and stay out of the fray? What are you thinking?
Can I sort of like wave Mr. Duquesne through, like peek through into the next office block and see if it's empty? And if it is, kind of send Mr. Duquesne through there and then go and join the fight. Okay.
Roll a wit check for me to take a kind of quick, like kind of ocular pat down of the room.
1 success.
1 success. With that, the room's quite dark and you don't notice anything kind of out of the ordinary in there. It just looks like another lab.
Okay. Mr. Duquesne, maybe you should just go in here and be safe, and I'm going to go help these guys with my thing that I found. And I'm sort of going to brandish this bolt thrower that I don't even know if it works. And hopefully Maxwell Duquesne's going to listen to me.
Okay. Yes. And he'll shuffle into side division ahead of you. Sorry, did you say so you're following, or you joining?
No, so I've sort of ushered him into that room where I think he'll be safe, and then I'm gonna. So who's closest to me? Is it Talisa or is it?
Talisa will be the closest to you. Is that there's kind of tussling with this one-armed zombie in the center.
I'm gonna run towards Talisa and be like, "Hey, Talisa, look what I found!" And sort of be running, proffering this like gas rifle to her.
Okay. I'm gonna say, Talisa, if you want to take the gas rifle, you're more than welcome to.
She's kind of in the frenzy right now. Yeah. You know, saying, you're not supposed to microwave fish.
Oh, it's that person at the office. Okay.
Stop taking all of your calls on speakerphone.
And our final group then is other potential enemies in this area. And as you're all tussling and kind of wrestling with the various members of the undead, you see in these glass kind of red cabinets rising shadows swaying and beginning to make their way towards the glass as hands begin to slam against the glass walls. and they begin to amass more and more, kind of at least kind of 5 or 6 in kind of some of these offices as the glass begins to crack. Most notably, you notice this, Jerry, as you've got the zombie kind of pinned up and you're wrestling with it, a large amount of dark shapes rising in the office behind that zombie.
Does that include the room that I've just sent Maxwell Duquesne into?
I was just getting to that. As you hear a squeal from side division of and you see Maxwell Duquesne slides open the door, slides it behind him, and kind of leans up against it, being like, "It wasn't empty, Bobby. It wasn't empty. I remember this for your performance review." As multiple hands begin to start slamming up against the glass on there, and it slowly begins to crack.
I'm going to make a fear check.
Okay.
Because Bobby's fear is receiving a bad performance review. He fails.
Fantastic.
0 successes.
So to explain fear, when you're rolling for fear, you're rolling a strange check. If you don't roll kind of any successful strange, you become afraid. So when you're afraid, what that does is it takes 1 skill point from everything and basically puts you at minor disadvantage across the board until you can defeat what's like assailing you or calm yourself down. That can be doubled down on, however, and you can become terrified, where you get double like kind of major disadvantage. We have -2 kind of on all of your rolls, down to kind of a -1. So at the moment, Bobby is going to become more ineffective as now he starts to worry about what his manager is going to say to him once this is all over. Cool. So that's the situation, and it will roll us back to the top of the order with Jerry. Jerry, what would you like to do as you see more of these zombies swelling in these kind of office cubes?
All right. So at this point, is there anyone still kind of behind us, or has everyone either sort of grouped around Jerry or moved closer to the elevator? Does he need to go back for anyone, is what I'm asking.
No, so you've got like kind of Talisa and Bobby are pretty much right by you in the center of the crossroads, being like, "Do you want a gas gun?" "No, I don't want a gas gun." Like kind of with the zombie with one arm like flailing in between them, not really doing any effect at all. And then you've got Rufus has sidled past you and is heading towards the elevator, and Maxwell Duquesne has popped out in that corridor as well, running through side division, alerting a bunch of zombies that are now trying to follow him as well. So no one behind you now. You're all kind of moving in towards the elevator direction.
Awesome. So then Jerry is going to try to stab at the zombie he was in combat with, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so yeah, so you've already done some damage to it, kind of ramming it up against this wall. So yeah, do you want to roll a grit attack for me to see if you can finish it off?
Yes. 3 successes, 1 strange.
So that is a critical hit. So just to explain very quickly, kind of with a critical hit, when you get a critical hit, so every creature in Shiver has a challenge rating. And with this, it's if you roll 2 beyond the challenge rating, you get a critical hit. Depending on where you're hitting from, it'll have a special effect. So usually you would do double damage as a kind of flat element, and then you would be able to knock them prone. However, you deal so much damage, you do 8 damage, which is insane with your guillotine cutlass. You have this kind of argy-bargy back and forth of kind of pushing back on the blade, and with an almighty heave, you slam the blade forward and decapitate the zombie in front of you, and the head goes rolling off down another corridor as it slumps down. So you have defeated the enemy that you were tussling with.
Awesome. And then he's just going to say, "Move, move, move," and try to get everyone else to move towards the elevator, and he'll turn towards the zombie that Talisa is tussling with.
You should just go.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna say, if you want to do kind of use your interact, if you want to try and like shove that zombie over because it's taken kind of so much damage, has lost limbs and things, I'll let you use your interact and kind of movement to do that, so you can help them get away, if that's what you would like to do.
You are a very kind GM. Sure.
So yeah, roll another grit roll for me.
0 successes and 2 strange. Let's move that doom clock up.
Okay, we're at 8 minutes past doom. As Jerry, you go and try and shoulder barge into this zombie, but instead you end up getting tangled up with them, and it's got like one arm around your shoulder as it kind of starts breathing horrible, fetid like dust and sand in your face as you try and push it away from you. Also, you haven't knocked it over, but you've now got it engaged in combat, so it is much easier for the others to get away. So yeah, and I'm going to say that is Jerry's turn. So that brings us to Talisa and Rufus. What would you like to do?
Talisa will take another shot at Susan, saying, "I know you're the one that always finished off the coffee without making more."
Fantastic.
1 success, 1 strange.
Success, one strange. 1 success is enough, though, as with a wild war cry, you swing the axe around, and you also cleave off the coffee mug stealing Susan's head as it rolls away down the corridor. You also notice as the body falls to the floor with a clunk that there are a series of metallic canisters strapped to her leg that appear to be propane tanks, like little mini propane tanks. For
I
some
knew it.
experiments.
She was stealing office supplies. Bobby, collect those.
Yeah, sure, okay.
And she's gonna spit on the head. And run towards the elevator.
You spit on
She
the head
really
as Bobby,
hates Susan.
as Bobby scurries in and collects up propane tanks and is just carrying, and it's becoming the group's pack mule very successfully of just carrying all this stuff. Excellent. And so dash in and do that. Are you wanting to move towards the elevator
Yes.
with Rufus?
Yes.
Fantastic. So yeah, so you spin on the head of Susan, give it a kick with your boot, and kind of start moving forwards through the corridor towards the elevator. Excellent. So that's going to bring us to Rufus. Rufus, what would you like to do?
I am going to. You said that the elevator door is like partially open, right? So I'm gonna try to stick the broom in there and try to wedge it open, get some leverage.
So roll a grit check for me.
Okay. No successes.
Okay, but no strange?
No, sir.
Excellent. So you heave and pull kind of using your precious mop, but as you hear the wood beginning to slowly splinter, you pull your mop back out, and it's not doing anything. You might need some more help to get this door open in time.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to do?
Yeah, so I'll drop the mop on the floor and kind of take a position of leverage and be like, give me a hand with this. And I'll start, my yanking to the left.
Was it Maxwell Duquesne will be like, well, I did just have and it looks around and sees a zombie smacks its hand on the glass behind him and goes, okay then, fine, I'll get my hands dirty. This is going to happen anyway. He rushes over towards you, and I'd like you to roll a grit check, and I'll roll a grit check in assistance of you as well. We'll see if we can start heaving it open.
Okay. I got 2.
Okay. So yeah, he got 1 as well. So you begin heaving it open, and you get it a slight amount open. With one more kind of heave, you're going to get it open enough so people can start fitting through. Okay, so that is going to bring us to Bobby, who is now clutching propane tanks, various weapons, and other bits. What would you like to do, Bobby?
I'm just gonna take my armful of illicit goods and sort of carefully and try and quickly move towards the elevator that everyone's moving to, or get to the elevator and see that people are trying to pull the doors open, and then look at the stuff in my arms and be like, I'd like to help, but I kind of can't.
Okay, and with that is going to, as all the other zombies are dead, apart from the ones that are stuck in the office. So I'm going to roll some rolls to see how they are doing getting through this glass. So some minor cracks begin to start appearing in side division where they're banging on the glass. And on the other side, in kind of non-lethal division, you see a fist punches through the glass and from the kind of far end of the corridor, kind of 4 zombies tumble through on top of one another in a pile at the end of the corridor and slowly begin shambling to their feet, and that is going to be their turn. So, Jerry, we're back with you.
Okay, Jerry is going to move towards the elevator to help finish getting it open, so that we can get through. And before anyone slides in there, he wants to sort of peek his head in and see if the elevator is there or if it's just the shaft at this point. He doesn't want anyone to fall down it.
Okay, so yeah, you step over the body of Susan, vault over the pile of 4 zombies that have collapsed in front of you, and jog over to the elevator. Would you like to roll a grit check for me to see if you can heave the doors open?
1 success, 0 strange.
Okay, I'm going to say with your mighty security mitts, you kind of reach in and go and pull it open just enough that you can see inside the elevator shaft. So inside the elevator shaft, you see that it is kind of lit with this yellow light, and you see to your left that there is a ladder leading upwards. There is it will basically go up a couple of floors that you can see. A lot of the elevator doors seem to be closed, but one a couple of floors up appears to be open. And residing above that is an elevator. And as you look down, there is a long, long drop that falls away into pure pitch black underneath. So that's what you see inside the elevator shaft.
Okay. Jerry will convey where the ladder is, and so you don't just step through. Like go to the ladder. And he's not going to be the first one through. He's planning on being the last.
Okay, so yes, you're kind of like stacked up, ready on the door to help everyone get through. So that takes us to Talisa and Rufus. Who would like to get in the elevator shaft first?
Well, I've seen plenty of action films, and I know for a fact that stuff like this is not as difficult as people make it out to be, because Bruce Willis can do it, etc. So I'll jump through to grab for the ladder.
Okay, you do so, and funnily enough, Rufus has a point. It may be high up. There's a long drop beneath you, but it's climbing a ladder. So a kind of mop stowed on your back, like a true action hero, you begin ascending the ladder, and I'll say you pretty much nearly get to the open entrance at the top, kind of using all of your movement. Is there anything else that you'd like to do, or is that all? Or you're kind of happy just to be going up the elevator shaft?
And then once I'm up the elevator shaft, I'll do the very stereotypical turn and extend my hand. Come on, it's not scary if you don't look down.
I guess there's a nice cut to Talisa. Talisa, what would you like to do?
Talisa's gonna drop the fire axe because she can't see herself climbing with it, and she will now take the bolt thrower from Bobby and start stuffing like the propane tanks into her purse.
Okay, so yeah, you drop the fire axe and begin to tool up and strap everything onto yourself, kind of action hero style, and that is now all secured on your person. So would you like to start ascending the elevator shaft?
First, Bobby, would you like this fire axe? We could probably find one up there, but
I'll take it for now.
Okay.
And I'll like take the fire axe, look at the ladder, and then like try and like stick like the handle of the fire axe down like my trousers to stow it, because I can't figure out where I would put it.
Okay. No, you climb up the side and you hold it on the side of the railing, Bobby. You don't put the sharp blade in your pants.
That's a really good idea. I see why you're a scientist.
Yeah, I love that Talisa has that idea about how to climb a ladder with a fire axe. What did you do before coming here?
Again, that's a different NDA.
So Bobby will take the fire axe back out of his trousers and will look at Maxwell GK and be like, "Sir, do you want to go first towards safety?"
He looks around, looks at everything that's happening, Sorry, Talisa, are you on the ladder now heading up?
Yeah, she'll go up the
Yeah.
ladder.
He'd be like, well, Bobby, it straightens his tie, if you insist, and then scurries towards the ladder through the elevator shaft and starts to climb very quickly.
I will follow him with my fire axe, attempting to climb with it.
And you just hear echoing from the elevator shaft, Jerry, climb faster, god damn you all, as we get back to our zombie friends as we roll for them to see how they are doing. So on the other side now, another glass pane gives way and 4 more zombies kind of tumble into the corridor as the other 4 begin to get up and start climbing their way towards you. They're far enough away that they don't manage to make it to you just yet, but the horde is slowly descending upon you. And that brings us back to you, Jerry. So what would you like to do next?
If everyone is in the elevator shaft and working their way up, and he can get a hold of one of the lower rungs, like they've moved up enough that he's going to do that. He wants to get out of this alive.
Fantastic. Excellent. So I'm going to say that you kind of clamber, you kind of jump onto the ladder, and just as you do, you narrowly avoid the swiping claw of one of these zombies as it tumbles forward into the shaft. And as you look down behind you, as you all begin to ascend to the next floor, you just see this like lemming parade of zombies walking through the elevator shaft. Like this, just tumbling down and slowly creating a small pile of the undead at the bottom of the shaft. So yeah, you begin making your way up, and you find one of the elevator doors open to a certain degree. Someone evidently trying to make a emergency escape, but Rufus, you being first, so you put your hand up, you put it in a kind of puddle of blood, and as you look over the lip, you see someone has evidently been dragged back away from what they were trying to do before they could finish what they started. As you kind of all pull yourself up, you realize that you are on the executive floor. So this is usually kind of a verdant paradise. The executive floor is like a mixture between an underground like company park and research area and kind of HR. It's where all the kind of big wigs and high flyers are. The trees and foliage are now, like once a source of joy and fresh air, seem a lot more ominous and dangerous in this kind of dark red lighting. You know that from here, that you're kind of in this corridor, kind of lined with trees. That kind of down the corridor and to the right, it opens out into a big main foyer where the main kind of express elevators to the surface are. And you know that kind of further down, there are some more offices, and to the left, there's like a water cooler area and some things there. However, you do notice that there is a trail of blood and carnage leading to where the water cooler area usually is, and also a strange yellow light shining around from the corner, which seems a little bit strange, as that's something you've not seen before. And the last thing that you hear is there is a ominous rumble of multiple groans that just seems to fill this floor. And that's kind of what you can hear. So what would you like to do?
Well, I've got people climbing up behind me, and a big old puddle of blood is not going to help the effort any. So I'll take my damp mop and just real quick, just give it a nice clean and get out of the way so people can get up.
Fantastic. You speedy clean this pool of blood, and people surface from the elevator shaft now to this nice sparkling clean patch of floor onto the executive floor. So everyone kind of climbs up, and you all emerge from the elevator shaft now safely onto, well, as safe as you can be, onto the executive floor. So yeah, so you've got a large amount of groaning, a weird yellow
Just
light.
give everybody
Talisa's going to immediately start hooking up the tanks and like strapping her lighter onto the front of the bolt thrower.
And what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to make a smarts check for me with advantage.
What is advantage?
So for minor advantages, I just want you to add one more skill dice in there. So one more d6.
Okay. Did that one. 2 successes, 3 strange.
Okay, so you're going to construct yourself a flamethrower as a kind of like jerry-rigged one together. I'm going to say that this is going to have 10 uses in terms of fuel. So if you kind of want to jot that down, you'll be able to roll this off your smarts to attack, as it is a weapon you have constructed yourself. And that is going to do a 5 fire damage every time you use it.
Nice.
So it's going to be marvelously effective against the undead. Excellent. So yeah, you kind of now brandish this kind of jerry-rigged weapon that's ready to go with your lighter flickering kind of at its nozzle.
So is there like, can we see where the noise is coming from? You said there was like a rumbling sound.
Yeah.
Is there, can we see where that's coming from, or is it?
Yeah, so as you kind of get more, you adjust kind of to the floor when you begin to listen more. And Bobby, you take a few shuffling steps to try and peer around into the foyer. You find the source of the groaning. You see a horde of over 50 zombies shambling around, blocking your path to the express elevators. People from every area of the company have been turned and are on this floor. You see a suited executive groaning into a cracked mobile phone. A mailroom worker is just slamming packages down onto the wrong desks, kind of desperately holding onto their cart. You also see a couple of zombies standing by the water cooler, taking turns to moan and groan at one another. And you feel deep in your hearts, it's kind of nice to see that the office dynamic hasn't changed too much. So that's what you kind of are contending with. Also, can you all roll a wit check for me?
0, 0.
I
there we go.
have 1 success.
0 success, 1 strange.
Okay, so that brings us to 9 on the doom clock.
1 success, 1 strange.
Okay, so for Rufus and Bobby, as you're kind of peering around at this horrific sight of the horde, you notice out of the corner of your eye, Maxwell Duquesne slowly sidling his way away from you as the group towards the yellow light at the end of the corridor. What would you like to do? He appears to be trying to sneak away from you and hoping that no one is going to notice whilst you're distracted by this horde.
I'll turn and poke him in the chest with the mop. Where you going, corporate shill?
Well, I was just investigating, trying to find a suitable way forward. None of you need to roll for this. He is evidently lying. He is deeply flustered.
I think he's telling the truth.
Yes, thank you, Delisa. Yes, it's just finding an alternative way forward. Who knows what we could potentially find?
But I thought the only way out was the elevators.
Oh, to the uninitiated or those on the lower floors, such as yourselves, that are not privy to classified information, I feel that due to certain removals from the power structure, I can share maybe a little bit more with you now. On this floor, there, as you can see by the handy yellow light at the end of this corridor, it is not a water cooler. It is an entrance to a certain lab, a secret lab, some might say. That's not everyone in the company is privy to. And also there are executive escape pods that are there that will exit in a undisclosed location that is much safer than the main express elevator access. So I was scouting ahead to make sure that we could all get there safely together.
Well, that's
Rufus will turn to Talisa. Hey, you're a scientist. Do you know what this worm just said? I don't have a clue.
Well, sounds like there were escape pods, but what are they? Let's try to do the math and figure out like how many escape pods they might have had versus if there's a chance to be any left based on how many executive zombies we're seeing up here.
Ooh, what would that be a roll for? And let's say smarts check. You start beginning to scan the amount of executives.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Okay. With that, you have a sneaking suspicion that you might be a little bit short in terms of, for the number of you that there are, as there are 5 of you, that there may be only 3 or maybe 4 left. So if you're going down that route, someone might be left behind, but you can't be sure for certain.
You might be telling the truth on this, but there may not be enough pods for all of us. If it's a safer escape route, you might as well want to take it. I don't know how we're gonna get past those 50.
So can we get is like the route to this yellow light like clear of the horde of zombies?
So there's some distance between you and there's like the trees and the bushes of like this weird company park that they've got going on. What I would do is get you, if you want to kind of stealth and try and not be noticed, I'll get you all to roll a wit check and we'll do it as like a group stealth check. And if you don't get high enough to pass, then you might alert the ire of the horde.
Okay. Is that all sneak through masses of zombies right to the elevators? I think that sounds probably better.
That
Okay.
sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, sounds good. Can
Also-
I use a luck on this?
You may. Yes, we've not really discussed luck that much, but yes, yes, feel free to throw your luck in.
Yeah, I've been silently
Banking.
Yeah, I'm the luck guy, so it's
Okay, so yeah, can everyone roll a wit check for me?
I got nothing. I am not lucky.
1 success, 0 strange.
Okay.
1 success, 0 strange.
0 success, 2 strange.
I'll roll for Maxwell. Maxwell also gets a strange. So on those that didn't get a wit, what strange did you get again? So you got 2 strange. That takes us to 11.
Bobby.
And so, yeah, and that takes us to. Okay, so we're on 12 strange. We are 3 minutes away from a doom event. You begin making your way as quietly as you can as a group, and you see a smile spread across Maxwell Duquesne's face as he kind of gets to the corner, peers around, and you see this trail of blood and carnage that you thought would lead to a dead end where the water coolers were, is a giant secret door kind of built into the wall. That's this large, thick titanium, kind of at least kind of 2 meters thick, that has swung open, and there is kind of a yellow light pouring through. And as he takes a step towards this door, he stands on a kind of spilled bit of broken glass, and there is a large crunch that just echoes almost cartoonishly around the foyer as the zombies all stop groaning. You hear a "Huh?" And as you turn around, you see 50 undead faces all looking at you as they begin to groan and shamble towards you. And you see ahead of you, Maxwell Duquesne just starts sprinting for that secret door. Are you all following?
Yeah. I want to get the hell out of here.
Mr. Duquesne, it's not safe to go by yourself.
Cool, excellent. So you all run, insist on kind of squeeze your way through into the secret lab.
I would like to light the carpet on fire behind me to try to slow them down.
Ooh, love it. I need
Yes,
it. Love
excellent.
it.
So
Also, screw these executives.
cool. So what I'm going to say is that will use up one of your fuel uses, so you'll be on 9. However, what that allows it to do is it means that the zombies all kind of rear back away from the fire, and none of them kind of get any strikes and kind of on you or get even anywhere close as you all heave on the large, heavy titanium door and seal it behind you. You hear the zombies slowly shuffling their way towards this secret door, but you are now sealed inside this secret lab. So what you see in this secret lab kind of ahead of you, you turn to see a long corridor flanked by large kind of glass cabinets with various things inside. At the end, you see that it widens out into what appears to be a large circular domed lab area. But you kind of have to get further down to investigate the lab a little bit more.
So is Maxwell like way ahead of us? Like,
he's kind of like, after kind of heaving the kind of door closed, he's kind of straightening up his tie, making himself look neat and proper again, and is at a kind of clipped trot, I will say, beginning to make his way down the corridor towards the lab. He is ignoring all of these kind of cabinets filled with stuff, and is just kind of heading straight for the lab. But what would all of you like to do?
I'll be like tight on his heels to like try and make sure that he's safe and get him to safety.
I will be too, but not for the same reason. Because I think he's a liar and and a corporate worm.
Fantastic. Jerry, Talisa, how about you?
Talisa would like to go through some of these documents and the lab to see if she can find some leverage on the company.
Okay. How about you, Jerry?
Jerry is he doesn't want to he wants to remain the last person in the group. So if Talisa's kind of staying a bit behind, he's gonna stay to keep an eye on her. He won't care if she picks anything up. He's gonna assume that she has the best motives for the company in mind and is trying to save something.
Okay.
But he doesn't want to leave anyone.
Okay. So, Talisa, what I'd like you to do, could you roll a smarts check for me to investigate and see what secrets you managed to gather?
3 successes, 3 strange.
Fantastic. So, you begin looking around this long floor, like corridor flanked by glass like display cabinets.
Mhm.
And as you make your way down the corridor, you see lots of different things: hunks of rock with ancient runes on, some different symbols carved on them, as well as like a bunch of like dusty tomes and all different kind of scrolls and things. From looking at all of these different ones and kind of scribbling some stuff down, you realize that the artifacts all seem to have a common theme: immortality. God kings of ancient civilizations from across the globe are shown to be receiving human sacrifices, glorious gifts, and monuments built in their honor. These beings are shown to possess supernatural powers, conjuring great storms, in particular sandstorms, as well as bringing back law servants from the dead to do their bidding. And another motif that you notice is pyramids. So this is something that you have never seen in Cornwall Consolidated. Everything has been about science, the facts. This all seems like some kind of mysterious supernatural hokum to you, which is something you're not too sure about. Cool. So gathering this damning and strange evidence, you kind of follow the corridor down with Jerry and catch up with everyone else as it opens out into a large domed space filled with computers and high-end scientific equipment. At its center, you find a giant stone sarcophagus that is standing on a central platform. It is lidless and empty. There are a few like patches of blood staining the kind of glass floor, and you see this strange black sand has spilled out from its base and is covering the remains of a few scientists that have been torn to pieces and are scattered around the room. Your general assessment: something really terrible happened here. At the end of the room, however, you see 4 escape pods. And Maxwell Duquesne, seeing this, leaps into a sprint. However, Bobby and Rufus, as you stuck close on his shoulder, I'm going to give you an opportunity to react as he tries to run for one of the escape pods. What would you like to do?
I am going to again try to trip him. Well, I mean, I didn't try to trip him before. I tried a zombie, but I'll try to trip him with the mop. He doesn't seem like he'd be too athletic.
Okay. Roll a grit attack for me.
Sure. Could I use luck?
Yes, you may. You can add luck to any roll.
I am going to bank on it so that way now I can get a third luck for something terrible that might happen later.
Fantastic.
All right. I got 1 success and a luck.
Okay. You're right. Maxwell Duquesne, not that athletic and not that hard to hit. As he begins to he tries to sidle away from you, and as he tries to break into a sprint, you just kind of go nope and hook his and you do indeed sweep the leg with your mop, and he goes down like a sack of bricks, his nose colliding with the floor with a crunch. He rolls around just like, oh, and you see that you've broken his nose and it's done that splats down his face, and he kind of starts trying to crawl back away from you, just being like, it's nothing personal, I just need to get out of here, and I'll bring help. I'll bring help to you all, and if you can, one of you can just stay here and hold the fort. I mean, nothing's getting through that large door. You'll be fine. I can send the escape pod back down for you. Yes, that's definitely a thing that can be done.
No, we're going to do this democratic. No. All bets are off.
Okay, then. So how do we resolve this democratically? How
We're
would
going
you
to wait
like
for everybody to be here. We'll draw straws. That's the most democratic way to do it.
You okay, Mr. Duquesne. I'm first aid trained. Thank God.
Okay. So, Bobby, are you going to try and help him up?
I'm
so
gonna
try and heal him.
crouch down beside him and sort of like go into my pocket to get a little sort of first aid kit. So I'm the rock bottom first aid trained employee. Start sort of like trying to dab at his face with some cotton wool.
Give him some saltines.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, as you crouch down, you crouch down next to Maxwell Duquesne. As he kind of looks at you, he grabs you and he shoves you towards Rufus. And as you collide with him, he gets up and begins to try and scamper away towards the escape pods, going, it's nothing personal. It's absolutely nothing personal, but I'm very happy to be getting out of here. And as he puts one foot in an escape pod, you hear this horrible cracking of bone as dark dust and this black sand drips down from the ceiling. And as Maxwell Duquesne looks up and you look up along with him, you see a giant humanoid figure with long black onyx claws, overly long limbs, looming over him with a long, strange, snouted face, partially obscured by dirty, tightly bound bandages, as with a dry, hollow scream, sand pouring out of its mouth, it reaches down, grabs Maxwell Duquesne by the head, and basically flings him up and bites him in half, and crawls down from the ceiling and draws itself up to its full height, and it is around 10 feet tall. And thus ends Maxwell Duquesne.
I guess I'm never getting that promotion.
Cool, and that is going to drop us into combat. So, as it has been distracted by the horrible Maxwell Duquesne, I'm going to give you are all going to go first together as a group, as you're all relatively together, and then it is going to be the creature. So yeah, seeing this horrifying creature, who would like to go first?
Oh, geez.
Look at that. We now have the exact right number of escape pods, and the monster is preoccupied.
Yeah, can we get to the escape pods?
So it's basically chowed down on Maxwell Duquesne, but it has seen you. It is currently it's pulled itself down off the ceiling and is stood in front of the escape pods. You could try and get past it, but it will probably try and take a swipe at you if you give that a go, or might grab you or do something else. You don't know exactly what this thing might do because it's not slow and doesn't appear to be stupid like its other undead creatures that you've seen shambling around.
Okay. So Talisa will go first and use her anatomy skill to try to figure out this thing's weaknesses.
Okay.
One success, one strange.
Okay. Once again, you look at those bandages and you think they're flammable. Very flammable, some might say. And look down at your flamethrower, feeling very, very happy with yourself. So yeah, that's what it is. Fire is a kind of big weakness for it.
Is that my interaction?
Yeah, so that'll be your interact. You can move and attack if you would like as well.
I will light this thing up.
Okay. Yeah, roll an attack for me.
One success, one strange.
Okay. With one success, unfortunately, that's not enough to land a hit, as you kind of line up a gout of flame and it scampers kind of out of the way as it sets Maxwell Duquesne's remains on fire as it moves away, and they kind of reduced to a nice pile of ash, and it hisses and gives this dry, hollow screech at you. Who would like to go next?
Here is a question. Would I be able to have Talisa light the head of my mop on fire?
Absolutely. I will say that will be, you can use your interact to do that. I won't make you roll for it.
I'll hold the mop at the bottom of the hand, up at the top basically, and I'll hold the head out and I'll say, give her a shot of fire.
Oh, it's like there's always that little small bit of fire at the end, so you can just dip it in there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll light the mop head on fire and then swing it at this big monster.
Okay, roll a grit attack for me. That's brilliant.
I got 0 successes and 2 strange.
Okay, so that takes us to 14 minutes past noon, so we're near our first Doom event. It kind of hisses at you and kind of manages to move quite nimbly out of the way as you begin swinging this mop kind of back, kind of like with fire on it.
Mhm.
Who would like to go next?
I'm gonna like get myself up off the ground after being thrown prostrate by Maxwell Duquesne. And then, I mean, I've got a fire axe, which I don't feel like is gonna do much. But Bobby will like look at his fire axe, realize that he can't set the end of his on fire, and he's gonna look around the room for something that he can maybe use as a flaming weapon as well.
Okay, roll a smarts check for me.
2 successes.
2 successes. So you don't see anything that's kind of flamey that you could use. You do notice, though, there is a very large display cabinet that appears to have a very ornate looking spear in it that has a large amount of hieroglyphs covering it.
Deal in. I'll go. Where is this in relation to the creature? Can I go and investigate said cupboard without?
So yeah, the creature is kind of being moved progressively more towards the middle of the room. So you've got like the escape pods, and it's like just off to the right. So if you sidled around, you'd probably be able to keep out of its kind of long-limbed reach.
Okay, can I go? I'll go and have a look in the cupboard and see what this spear is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a kind of large, heavy spear. Looks slightly too large for you, but it feels like you could wield it. But it does look very, very heavy.
Okay, I'm not the strongest of people, but I'll try and pick it up and see if I can heft it.
Cool. Yeah. You smash the glass, and you kind of pull it out, and it kind of sags in your finger. It feels almost more like a large lance, for you. For you to attack with this, because you're not very good with heavy weapons, you're going to have to use your interact and your attack, in order to kind of launch an attack. But it feels oddly warm and kind of almost like kind of throbs in your hands as you're kind of holding it. And it doesn't really feel like a spear, if you've ever held a spear as an intern, I'm not sure, that you've ever held before.
Basic training.
Cool. And that's going to be Bobby B's turn. So I think that only leaves us with Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry would also look for something flammable, and if he doesn't see, well, there's all that paper around. Can he kind of try to make like a bonfire or something for Talisa to light on fire, but closer to the creature? So maybe grab like a good old cardboard box of paper, because there's always someone gathering that stuff, sort of toss at the feet of this monster.
I like it. Yeah, use the company's bureaucracy and love of paperwork against it. So you see like piles of files and things. What I'm gonna say is could you roll a grit check for me to like use your interact to run around and just start hurling as many boxes of kind of paper as you can find, like into this large pile?
1 success, 0 strange.
Okay, so you say you manage to make a decent sized pile that looks very nice and flammable near this creature. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I don't think so. Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. I like it. You're all being very cautious with this creature, which is very interesting because I've had other groups that just charge, which is very funny.
I'm not here to charge the Scorpion King, okay?
Yeah. We're all so close to maybe getting out of here.
Also, this is just the end of the second Mummy movie.
This is the end of the second Mummy movie. So,
So, it's going to be the creature's go now. And it is going to kind of fly out its long kind of black onyx claws, and it is going to swing it down. Who is closest to it? I think Rufus has tried to jab it with its mop. Yeah. So it is going to swing down both of its claws. So it's going to swing down for its first attack.
Okay.
The first one misses.
Can I rely on the Murphy's Law here for a moment? I have Murphy's Law. It says when targeted by an attack, the fool can roll a single core. If it's a luck symbol, the attack misses.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to roll that for me?
Yeah. It's a luck. I'm not even kidding.
Which is great because the second attack that slams down, you miraculously stumble back as the claws slam down and scrape against the floor, and it screeches at you. And that is going to be the creature's turn. And that's going to take us back up to you guys. So what would you all like to do? And who would
Well, I'm gonna just try slapping it with this flaming mop because I'm not gonna get killed by this giant mummy creature. Forget that. I'm getting out of here. I'm about to retire. This is insane.
Yeah, Jerry's gonna rinse and repeat with the paper and shout at Talisa, set it on fire.
Okay, awesome. What order would you like to resolve this in? Do you want to build? Do you want to kind of like unite your actions in a way, kind of tactically? So if you're building the bonfire, are you, Rufus? Are you wanting to try and ward it closer towards the bonfire with your attack? And then at least you're waiting for that to happen.
Yes. I'll definitely try to push it in a place where it's going to be at a disadvantage.
Awesome. Right. So Jerry, I'd like you to roll a grit check again first, for kind of to continue building your bonfire.
0 successes, 1 strange.
So sadly, you're running out of paper. You're struggling to find. You're kind of just throwing small folders on. It's getting slightly bigger, but not enough that's going to kind of make the conflagration much bigger.
They started going digital. I'm a librarian. This is the bane of my existence.
Ooh, and that does put us at, thank you very much, Talisa, for reminding me. That ticks us over into quarter past doom, and that is going to trigger a doom event. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you resolve your actions, and then the doom event is going to occur. So, Rufus, would you like to roll your mop attack for me, please?
Yes, I would. And I'll throw a luck in there for good measure. And I'll have no successes and 2 strange. Because I'm lucky, you know?
It swats kind of your mop away from itself and hissing at you, and you don't manage to move its position that much. Talisa, what would you like to do?
Since the monster is not in position, I will try to light him up.
Okay, roll and tap for me, please.
Yes, sir. 2 successes.
Fantastic. So a large gout of flame covers this creature, and it screeches in pain as it begins to kind of consume it, and it begins to flail around wildly. The bandages beginning to kind of burn upwards. That leaves with Bobby kind of tottering around with this large spear. What would you like to do?
So I'm seeing that Jerry is rapidly running out of kindling for the bonfire that he appears to be constructing. I'll sort of try and bring this spear over to Jerry and proffer it to him because he's a lot stronger than I am, and I don't think I might offer him a swap for the guillotine cutlass.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, kid.
Awesome.
Okay, so as you kind of brandish this spear, Jerry, this kind of large kind of Egyptian kind of artifact, the eyes of this creature narrow, and its jaw kind of unhinges like a snake as it screeches, and a huge amount of this black sand just pours out and begins to swirl around the room. Can you all roll a wit check for me?
0 successes, 1 strange.
Shouldn't chuckle so evilly. I'm sorry.
One success for me.
1 success.
Yeah.
One
Okay.
success here.
1 success as well.
Unfortunately, 1 success is not going to be enough, as this strange supernatural sandstorm of black sand begins to swirl around the room. And with what you can see almost seems to be a crocodilian grin, the creature steps back into the sand and skitters away out of sight. So you are now within this large sandstorm that is consuming this room. it's very hard for you to see anything. If you want to try and spot anything in the room, you're going to, and kind of orient yourselves, you're going to need to make a wit check and use an interact to do so to spot the creature, because it's got now retreated into stealth and will kind of try and attack you from stealth. You're going to need to roll a slightly more difficult wit check to see it before it pounces out.
Isn't it on fire?
Oh, I was going to say, as part of the event, it's wrapped it around itself and has it managed to extinguish itself with its kind of whipping winds. Sorry, I knew I've got a detail.
Do you think that since it's all around us now, and is it still likely flammable? Since it's probably easier to hit now that it's all around us.
Oh, so sorry, no, it's not turned into sand. So it's kind of like sand has poured out of its mouth and it's swirled around. And what it's done is it's retreated.
Apologies,
back in and you can't see it.
I was confused. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, like in the Mummy when Imhotep makes that sandstorm with like his mouth.
Yeah, no, I sort of thought more like vampire disperse into item.
And Jerry, as you're looking around, you don't notice that from above you, a large claw swipes down from the ceiling out of the sandstorm, and slashes you across the back for 4 wounds.
So that fills me from
on,
weekend all through limping.
Jerry, use your tough ability.
I keep forgetting to do it. When hit by an attack, roll a single core die. On a grit symbol, the wounds taken from the attack are reduced by 1, so I'll do that now. So what I put in the dice roller, do I just put 1 grit?
One, or you can just roll the skill and take the top left dice as the first result.
Okay, 0 successes.
Okay, so with that, unfortunately, it's not enough to block anything, as these large claws rake across your back before retreating back into the sandstorm. And we've had the Doom event, which was the sandstorm itself, and now we've had the creature's turn reaching out to stealthily scratch at you, and now it is all back to you. What would you like to do next?
How confusing is the sandstorm? Can we still work out roughly where we are in the room? Do we reckon that we can get to the escape pods?
So you're gonna need
the creatures.
You're going to need to make a wit check to orient yourselves to try and get and to kind of navigate to where you want to go. So if you want to try and go into the escape pods, roll a wit check for me as an interact, and I'll let you know if you manage to get to the right side of the room.
Bobby, now brandishing his guillotine cutlass, is going to try and find his way to the escape pods now that the creature's kind of been driven away from them. 0 successes and a strange.
Okay. Bobby, you wander kind of further into the room, away from the group, and as you turn around being like, guys, you look around and you're just in the middle of a sandstorm by yourself, and now you can't see your friends. So who would like to go next?
So Lisa will try to orient herself.
Okay.
1 success.
Fantastic. So you kind of begin to see little gaps in the sandstorm, and you see the kind of glass cover of one of the escape pods, and begin to make your way towards there. As you're kind of squinting, you reach out and you find your hand resting on one of the escape pods.
Okay, and for her combat action, she's just going to use the flamethrower and just start spraying up in the air. 1, 2, either keep the monster away from her and possibly signal the others to her location.
I tell you what, roll a luck check for me.
1 success, 1 strange.
1 success. So I'm going to say with that, you hear a hiss from the ceiling and a kind of skittering as something as this creature is moving across the walls, but you can't see it. But for Jerry and Rufus, I'm going to say that you get a major advantage for if you're wanting to navigate towards the escape pods now.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Because you can see this beacon of flame kind of shining through.
Mama didn't raise no dummy. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm going to forge ahead in a straight line because that's exactly where the pods are at.
Fantastic. Seeing this beacon of flame, you push through the kind of blank sandstorm and find yourself at the escape pods as well. How about you, Jerry?
Yes. Does he know that Bobby is lost, or?
I'd say like if you get to the pods, and you kind of find yourself with a hand on a pod, and you look and you see Rufus, you see Talisa, and you look to your right, expecting to see Bobby. No Bobby. Oh, Bobby.
Aw, kid. And he's going to tell the other two to go on, and he's going to try to find Bobby.
Okay. Excellent. So what I'm going to say is, if you roll another wit check for me, see if you can locate Bobby in this storm.
0-0.
Sure. You begin taking kind of steps out into the storm, and you find yourself almost as lost as Bobby now, kind of searching for and crying out his name. So I'll cut back to Rufus and Talisa. So you're at the escape pods. Rufus, I believe you still have an action left. So what would you like to do?
I will take my flaming mop and I will swing it as like a beacon so that like they can maybe see through the storm, and I'll just be shouting over here because I don't see anybody else and don't know where they're at.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is again, for Bobby and Jerry, if you're trying to make your way back, you are going to have a major advantage. So you can have a talent die for when you're trying to make your way back to the escape pods. However, that is everyone's turns concluded, and the creature moves around once more. And Bobby, you wandering around with your guillotine cutlass, kind of looking around desperately, a long, overly long kind of onyx clawed arm reaches out and swipes at you. And again, like slashes you like across one of your legs, leaving kind of long, deep gouges in there, dealing 4 wounds to you as it retreats back into the darkness. So that's going to bring us back to all of you. What would you like to do?
I guess I'm gonna try and reorientate myself. Can I is the sandstorm making it harder to hear as well as see, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like howling wind. Just actually kind of almost like being in the middle of a raging storm.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a wit check to see if I can work out where I need to be going. Which I fail, but I'm going to use my Deus Ex Machina ability to re-roll the check.
Okay.
Hey, 2 successes.
Excellent. So yeah, kind of with that, you see Jerry like trying to make his way towards you. And beyond that, you see Rufus with his mop to go, just like waving it. So you can make your way over to Jerry and start both making your way back to the pods if you would like.
Yes, that is exactly what I would like to do via Jerry towards fire.
Okay, so so you reunite with Jerry and start making your way back towards the pods, and you're there. What would you all like to do?
Get in the pods.
Yeah, once I see them, I'm gonna get in. I don't know how a pod works, but I assume it's got fairly easy instructions.
I mean, the executives have to use it, so it's probably stupid proof.
Yeah,
okay,
got that right.
So everyone getting all the separate pods, getting ready to fire?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, everybody make a smart check for me to see if you fire it off quickly.
Smart.
0 successes, 1 strange.
2 successes, 1 strange.
0 successes, 1 strange.
0 successes, 1 strange.
We're doing
Wow.
great, guys.
So that's accelerated us to 21 doom by my count. Like the latter end of this game, the doom has been ticking up really, really fast. And you're all kind of sat there, like put the belts on, you're like, pushing the buttons. And suddenly the storm dissipates, and standing in front of you, as you are all in these kind of little plastic bubbles, is the creature. And I'm going to roll a dice to decide who it's going to go for. Okay. It looks at you, Bobby, and rears back a fist, and it's going to try and punch through the glass and grab you.
Please be reinforced.
It manages to punch through the glass, and it kind of shatters kind of through onto you, and it begins to start kind of clawing at you. Take 2 wounds for the glass kind of shattering in. So yeah. So for the rest of you now, as that's going to be the creature's turn, you have a choice. You can, now you've had enough time within the pod, you can fire your pod and you can escape, or you can try and help Bobby in whatever way you deem fit. The choice is yours.
Did Talisa already succeed in her smart check? Is she gone? Is she just like...
Talisa, did you succeed?
2 successes.
Two successes. So yeah, the choice you have is that at that point when the thing drops, you can just fire off straight away, or you could stay. What would you like to do?
I'll leave the flamethrower.
I would have skid the flamethrower out and then
Yeah, I don't want that in the container with me anyway.
Fantastic. So
Hit the big green button.
you slide the flamethrower out, close the pod, and hit the big green button, and you shoot up towards the surface.
This is simple. They should have figured this out, right?
And Talisa disappears out of sight and to relative, what we hope is safety. So the rest of you, so Jerry and Rufus, what would you like to do?
Jerry's gonna step out of the pod, grab that flamethrower.
Okay, cool. Roll a smarts check for me to try and get this thing to fire. I'm sorry, it's a smarts weapon. I feel really bad, but it
0-0.
You try and kind of get it. It's like, how did Talisa build this thing?
Green button? What is she talking about?
And you kind of point it heroically at the creature and you click it and it just kind of goes and just nothing happens and you just keep clicking and nothing happens. Like so yeah. So that's Jerry. Rufus, how about you?
Well, I think all things considered, Rufus is a pretty nice guy. And just leaving this poor fella here seems kind of not the nicest thing to do. So against better judgment, I will get out and I will try to fight the thing off so that Bobby can, I'm old. He's young. He's got plenty of life to live. Damn it. I'll grab the mop and I'll just run forward and swing at this monster.
Fantastic. Right, roll a grit attack for me to see if you can ward this thing away from Bobby's pod.
Okay. I got a success and a strange.
Okay, so I'm going to say you don't deal any damage to it, but you manage to kind of get it to shuffle back and its hand retreats out of the pod as it turns to you kind of hissing as you manage to get some distance with it away from the pods. However, that brings us to Bobby. Bobby, the claw has retreated, but what would you like to do?
Bobby doesn't want to leave anybody behind, so Bobby probably wants to help, but equally he realizes his people haven't gotten in the escape pods to leave. So I think Bobby is probably gonna get out and help them as well to try and scare the creature off. He's gonna get out of the pod and be like, Jerry, mind if I see that flamethrower?
Yeah, sure, kid.
I'm to that magic spear.
I'm gonna.
I think I've still got it.
I'm gonna turn the flamethrower towards
Jerry.
this creature. 3 successes and a luck.
3 successes and a luck. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you kind of go like, okay, that's the right button, and just a gout of flame erupts and collides with this creature that gives another horrible kind of screeching howl as it clutches its face. The bandage is fully burning away, revealing this weird blend between a crocodile and a jackal, kind of its face as it hisses at you.
And as I send that gout of flame out, I'm gonna shout everybody run! I think we should be good this time. While it's on fire. And I'm going to just drop the flamethrower and jump back in the pod and smash the button.
Okay. So, you drop the flamethrower, jump back in your chat and slam the button, and Bobby B shoots to the surface. The creature, kind of damping kind of the flames on its face, is going to take a swipe at Rufus. It misses as it is still kind of half clutching its face and is flailing kind of around wildly. And that is going to be its turn. Jerry, Rufus, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna look to Jerry and just shout, "Get in the pod, kid!"
Yeah.
And I'll jump in mine and again try to press every button. Get me out of here!
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Jerry's going to get back in the pod.
Excellent. Yeah, as this thing is kind of flailing around, bandages burning, you jump back in the pods, eventually figure out, green button. And as you kind of hit it, Jerry, you look down as the creature's clawed hand reaches up and scratches just the outside of your pod as it rockets up, leaving kind of 4 large scrape marks down as you all move to the surface. This horrible, dry scream of this creature echoing up from the hollow far down below. So the pods hurtle towards the surface at an alarming rate. You all grit your teeth against the force until the pod's speeds begin to ease. And you emerge onto the ground as the hatch pops open, and you clamber out and find yourself on fresh grass looking at a starry sky. As you look down below, you see there is the city. That would usually be kind of a gleaming beacon of electric lights in the far distance. But you notice a tall column of smoke rising from its center, some small fires burning. You realize with some horror that the situation hasn't been contained to the hollow, and what other horrors were cooked up down there are now out in the world, roaming free. And that's where we'll end our session, everyone. You all escaped the hollow. You didn't die. Hooray! Well done. Oh, thank you, everyone. That was a fantastic session. I hope you all really, really enjoyed it. I was going to say we've got about 10 minutes after the stream. If you guys would like to shout out anything, it's anything kind of at the end of the stream, now's your chance.
That was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed the game.
Thank you.
Getting to play a surly old janitor, and who is not so smart, and it was a lot of fun. Very interesting.
Thank you.
It was great. I really enjoyed the amount of combat innovation.
We're always big on if someone has a cool idea in terms of like killing a zombie, fighting a demon, doing something in a really interesting way. Always reward that, because it's always so much fun.
Sausage meat shredder was pretty epic.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. If I can improvise a weapon, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's just more fun.
Yeah, it's one of the first rules we kind of part for the full book that we came up with was the rules for improvised weapons and how you do that in the game. So we've got like rules for malfunctioning weapons and things like that. So if you cobbled something together that's amazing but also really unreliable, it can just explode in your face, which is quite fun.
Talisa did a good job with that flamethrower, so I didn't make it as rickety, so it didn't overheat and explode, which someone has done before. Awesome. I think probably just a few parting words about Shiver. Barney, do you want to give us an update of kind of where we're at with the game and kind of where people can check it out a bit further?
So we Shiver got sent live on Kickstarter in last year in October, and we had an amazing Kickstarter run. Got well above what we were expecting on our target. People were really supportive of the project. So we are now heading towards production, but fear not, for those of you who have missed the Kickstarter portion, we do still have a pledge manager where you can go and pick up the game. That closes at the end of this month, and then we're going to be getting into the fun business of getting some delightful digital products, and then pretty soon actual books, which is very exciting for us to have a tangible thing that we're going to be able to hold after designing this game for ages.
Yeah, having like physical dice that I can hold in my hand has been making me so happy. And also one thing that I kind of didn't show you all, the physical screen copy that has arrived for us as well, with a Doom tracker built in on the top as well for you.
Yeah, if you want any more information about the game, or to play the story that we've just played, this story is actually available for free in our quick start guide. If you head over to shiverrpg.com, which has the dice roller and the free quick start guide, and links to various other things as well for you to check out if you fancy giving Shiver a play.
Awesome, and I think just to go last thing, another kind of big thank you to Virtual HorrorCon for inviting us along. We've had an absolute blast. We're really, really happy that you've enjoyed the game. We would love to come back and play some more sessions with all of you and at the con in the future. But I think that's everything from me and Barney. If there's anything from you guys, I think that we'll call it a spooky night, and we're all done.
Well,
spooky morning. Yes. time differences.
I think it was a ton of fun, and I'm really looking forward to running it for my home players as well. So quick start guide is super easy to understand, And honestly, the rule system was very straightforward, very simple to follow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
Thanks so much. We that's kind of what we wanted to do when we designed it. Is we had a lot of friends who wanted to get into RPGs, but they found lots of systems quite intimidating. So we wanted to reduce the numbers and make it more theory of the mind and story with some light rules rather than getting really crunchy with it. So it's yeah.
I think a good question to end on is with this, like from when we've been discussing Shiver with people, is people get quite excited of the fact that where our inspiration came from is like, I have a serious love of like horror movies, B movies, that kind of area, and like, how can I play this film plot kind of with my friends? For all of you who've played today, like if you could kind of pick one horror movie that you love, that you could kind of take and kind of wind into the system in some way, the archetypes, what do you think you would play? What would be the first kind of game you'd like to play with Shiver?
Oh, the thing. I would totally just toss that in there. Blender, amazing.
Lovely.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, that was great. So there was two different scenes that kind of reminded me of two different movies. So the first one in the mail room, when the zombie was put into the shredder, was a very like Dead Alive feel. And the zombies in the hallway when we were running definitely reminded me of like a Return of the Living Dead. Definitely gave me those types of vibes. So and then when we got out and we saw that like the city was kind of ruined, definitely gave me like a Return of the Living Dead feel as well.
Excellent. Both movies I absolutely love. Rosie, you'll be happy to know that there is a in the Cursed Library, which is our expansion book that'll be coming out with kind of stories. There is a story called The Lost Ship, which is very, very Carpenter, The Thing inspired, where you take a nice frosty adventure to the Arctic to find a missing research boat. So I feel like that is definitely going to be right up your alley.
And I know we have a lot of John Carpenter fans at Gehenna Gaming and Carrying Comfort Studios.
Especially
so that is
Wes.
excellent.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, we would absolutely love to come back and give that game a whirl with you all, if you're kind of willing, because you've been an absolutely fantastic group to direct for. So yeah, it's been an absolute joy. But how about you, Ben? What would be your pick?
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
I'm working on a session for it now based on Delta Green, but this has more pulpy feel to it and less of a less problematic a little bit. But I got my monsters, I got everything good to go. I got my map.
I saw Giant Floating Head, and that brought me such an immense amount of joy. It's
You name a monster, I have an index card for it.
Yeah, so much research. I think he watched the movie 30 times.
Over.
Oh,
I also own the book, and I bought the Blu-ray so I could watch all the special features for more.
There's a book. Did you know there's a Cabin in the Woods book?
It's got weird, unnecessary sexual fantasies. I don't know why they're in there.
whoa! I was not aware it was a book. That's mad.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it's just based on the movie.
Yes. So yeah, I think on that front, then I think it'll be a kind of sign off from us. Thank you everybody for coming along and watching, and thank you to our wonderful players for coming and playing. And yeah, and again, thanks from me and Barney for giving us opportunity to show off the game.
Thanks for having us.
Also, check us out at Carrying Comfort. Rage Across Birmingham finale is coming up.
Yes, the 13th.
Crack the Sky Alpha on Sundays. Charm Person Games is running games next weekend. It's going to be a great time. Check us out. Comfort comes soon.